33, 27, 2, 37, 30, and now match 6. The numbers are 44, 4, 11, 6, 17, 33. Thanks for playing the Pennsylvania Lottery. Benefits older Pennsylvanians every day.
Welcome to Philadelphia Live, you guys. My name is Judea Murray. If this is your first time joining me, we got a lot to talk about, and I'll go over the house rules in just a second. But first and foremost, you're taking a live look at Xfinity Mobile Arena, where the Flyers, the Philadelphia Flyers have their chance to clinch a spot in the playoffs. But can they punch that ticket? We'll be talking to our sports team a little later on to see what those scenarios would look like for them. You're also taking a look at the White House. There's a live camera at the White House where they're expecting any moment now to be welcoming in those Netherlands Royals, who also made their way through Pennsylvania a little earlier on. So a lot is going to happen at the White House. You know, in a couple of hours ago, President Donald Trump actually had a DoorDash order. He's kind of like the rest of us, I guess. We'll be talking about what he got in his order and why in just a little bit as well. And then, of course, I want to keep things going. We'll talk about some things that are happening more on the local front. So again, this is Philadelphia Live. So even though we're going to talk about national stories and international stories, I'm always going to bring things closer back to home for those of us who live in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware. It's going to be a lot of national stories where we'll be talking about politics, sometimes even business. And then sometimes we'll talk about lifestyle and sports as well. As I mentioned, the Flyers are playing tonight, but I do think the Phillies are playing too, so obviously both are on my mind. So again, a lot of things in store for all of you guys. Let's bring things back really close to home. I heard Mayor Sherelle Parker, she's the mayor for the city of Philadelphia, right now is having the first ever One Philly, One Future budget town hall meeting. They're going to be talking about how much money she wants to spend in fiscal year 2027 and on what. This is happening live as we speak. Let's listen in.
The promises made. I'm going to turn this over to our finance department and our director. When you look at the city of Philadelphia being on strong fiscal footing, I want you to know we have one of the best minds leading our finance department. He's worked through I don't know how many mayors. He's worked in Harrisburg with the governor in budget and finance. And he, along with our budget director, Sabrina Maynard, these are the fiscal experts on whose shoulders I stand. Give it up for Rob DeBoe, please.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you all for being here tonight. We're going to spend a lot of time tonight talking about the investments that we're making and how we want to pay for them. But to do that, we need to give you the context in which we're making those investments. So I'm going to spend a little time talking about our fiscal position. So when we closed last year, we had a relatively high fund balance, basically money in the bank, and that was really good. But we also are facing really an unprecedented series of challenges. We're looking at persistent inflation, which I'm sure you all know. Prices keep increasing, a tight labor market, and as we'll talk about, we're really reliant on jobs for our taxes. Our revenue is getting increasingly volatile, and there's a lot of federal and economic uncertainty. You know, from day to day and week to week, we don't know what's coming from the federal government, and we don't know how that will affect our finances. We also are facing this at a time when we had a great backstop for a few years called American Rescue Plan. We had $1.4 billion in American Rescue Plan money. And that sounds great, but it actually was replacing lost revenue of about $1.5 billion. Still, while we had that money, we knew it was there and we knew it provided us some cushion. That is now gone. So we're facing these uncertainties without a backstop that we've had over the last few years. On the next slide, one of the other important things, we have when you hear the size of our budget, you think that's a lot of money. Why can't we just do whatever we want? Well, part of that is a lot of our costs are fixed. We're really inflexible. They're things that we can't avoid. So as we start to make our choices each year, we know that there are some things that are off the table. And this slide shows that well over half of our spending is either stuff we can avoid, like our debt service, which is the equivalent of our mortgage payments on a home. We have to make those payments. We have to make the payments for our retirees, our pension fund payments. Can't avoid those. There are costs that are kind of inflexible, like the costs for health benefits for our current employees. We add all that together, we really have less than half of our budget to play with when we're looking at what investments we want to make. The other thing I wanted to talk about, and we'll actually just flip one more slide. So one of the ways you measure a city's financial health is by looking at its fund balances, which is money it has in the bank. So this slide shows where our fund balances are and where we project they'll be over the 5-year plan. We are required under state law to budget for 5 years, and in each year we have to be balanced. So what this is showing you is where we started, where we ended last year, and it's comparing it to two things. One, you hear me? Okay. One is basically our trade group, the Government Finance Officers Association. It recommends that you have 2 months worth of cash in the bank, essentially, for when things go wrong, because things always go wrong. That's that higher bar up there. We know for a variety of reasons that for Philadelphia, that's probably unrealistic. We're a city and a county, so we have more expenses than other governments. We have a relatively high level of poverty, which means our tax base is weaker, the demand for service is higher. So we set our own target of about 6 to 8% of revenue for our fund balance. What you can see here is that when we start in FY26, and we look at our fund balance and our other reserves, we were over $1 billion. That's what I was talking about with the relatively high fund balance. As we see that federal money go away, weakness in the economy because of all the uncertainty, we start to see a gap between our revenues and our obligations. Our fund balance drops every year. It goes down until FY29. That's a very big year for us because we have a balloon payment on an old borrowing. So we really want to get past that year with positive fund balances. We do, and you can see that our reserves stay at about that 6% range. So we're right on the edge of where we want to be. So it doesn't give us a ton of flexibility in what we can do. With that, I'm going to turn it over to our budget director, Sabrina Maynard, who's going to talk about the components of our budget.
Thanks so much. Good evening, everybody. So I'm going to talk a little about what we call obligations, which are what we spend, and then revenue, which is how we pay for the things that we spend. So this slide shows the bar charts of sort of what our spending looks like over the next 5 years. You'll actually see in 26, 27, and 28, those first 3 years were relatively flat. And then there's some growth in the costs in the out years, and this is not driven by large expansions of things. There are a couple things that drive this. The biggest pieces of our budget include what we spend on all the people to keep the city running. We are heavily reliant on personnel, like a lot of other cities, and then the costs associated.
All right, so let's switch bases. Going from Philadelphia out to Washington, D.C., this is live at the White House. President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump have just walked out the front door of the White House in order to welcome in the Dutch King and Queen. I do have to tell you all that I was taking a look at some of the local news outlets out there in the Netherlands, and it seems that the people out there, the Dutch, are very skeptical about this meeting that's supposed to take place. Not quite sure if they support their leadership meeting with the president and the first lady. Of course, that's going to be something that will be talked about afterward, after they discuss exactly what it is they wanted to talk about publicly. As you can see, they're shaking hands there. Let's bring up that audio just in case there's any bit of this we can hear for you guys.
we'll talk about that later, but it was a good experience. Wonderful to see you. Thank you very much for having us here tonight. Really, absolutely fantastic. Well, we were. Actually, I must admit. No, but during the conference, I think. Yeah, actually, Alex still was watching. He was watching us. He was very, yeah. No, he was in college. Very interesting. Anything that do a picture here? I don't know where you went there. Where? You was the president here? I don't know where you. Okay, very good. Oh, wait a minute. I'm thinking of those guys over there. That's the media. That's what the big pictures are. We also introduced my prime minister, who's come along with us here.
Yeah, we could have a Mr. President, good to meet you. Thank you for having me. It's my honor.
Beautiful tulips out there. That is very good flowers there. Maybe we can take one picture here with that.
They've been very busy, the media, over the last little while. Everything okay? Highly respected people. Treat them nicely, please.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
One with the ladies, please. Ladies together, please. With the ladies, please.
All right, so we got to see that brief live welcome on into the White House. And as I mentioned to you all, I am seeing that from local news headlines. Apparently, the Dutch people are skeptical. They see this meeting as being controversial, given that President Donald Trump did just announce that huge blockade in the Strait of Hormuz. And so they're wondering, what could this mean? Is this bad political timing for their leaders to be meeting up with the president and the first lady? However, I do want to let you all know that apparently they were given this invitation last summer. And so it has nothing to do, they say, with what's going on right now politically with this war between Iran, the U.S., and Israel, of course. All right, we're going to keep our eyes on what's happening with that meeting. Of course, if there's any other part of it that I can stream live for you guys, we're going to do that. I know you would love when we get to see a little bit more of what the president is doing. We're also live right now on TikTok. This is an interactive chat, so if you've got a comment, you've got a question for a reporter, put it in the chat, and then I can go ahead and express it and maybe even give you a shout out live here on air. All right, I want to turn bases one more time. Last week, if you were with me, we had a party on the stream while we were watching Orion come back to Earth. We watched those brave astronauts emerge from that aircraft, that capsule out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and it was really exciting. We made history. Now, while all eyes were on that happening Friday, we know NASA has already turned the page and they're looking forward. I want to get on right out to Chelsea Torres, who's live for us from Houston, Texas. Chelsea, you have been on this from start to finish, and I say finish, but honestly, it's like things are getting kicked back up again. What's NASA cooking up now?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, things really are not slowing down here at NASA, Judea. But I can tell you the 4 astronauts, they finally had time to go see their families, but they also are back to work. They're now doing post-flight evaluations and debriefs. They said it wasn't easy being more than 200,000 miles away from Earth, but they're so proud at everything that they accomplished together.
What you saw was a group of people who loved contributing, having meaningful contribution, and extracting joy out of that. I would suggest to you that when you look up here, you're not looking at us. We are a mirror reflecting you. And if you like what you see, then just look a little deeper. This is you.
NASA says the goal for Artemis 2 was to test, learn, and prepare for future space missions. Over the next 30 days, they'll analyze all of the data. The Orion spacecraft will go back to Kennedy Space Center, and the team will pull all the hardware to see what could be used for future missions. NASA's administrator called the Artemis 2 mission the greatest adventure in human history. But the space agency has no plans of slowing down. The next crewed mission, Artemis 3, will be a test flight aimed to connect the Orion capsule with another lunar spacecraft. This test flight is needed because landing astronauts on the moon will require them to transfer a second vehicle. In fact, officials say the docking system for Artemis 3, the part of Orion used to connect to that other spacecraft, is already qualified and ready to go, and they hope to name the Artemis 3 crew soon.
The mobile launcher is preparing to go back to the VAB. Artemis 3 will start being assembled, and the next crew will begin preparing to play their part. As we return to the lunar surface, we build the base, and we never give up the moon again.
Now NASA is sticking to a 2027 launch date for Artemis 3. They're even anticipating getting astronauts on the lunar surface again in 2028. But at least here at Johnson Space Center in the next couple of days, we'll hear from those 4 astronauts again. We'll get to ask them questions about what their experience was like and doing that historic ride around the moon. Judea.
2027 and 2028. I mean, yes, technically it's a year away, but when you really think about it, it's not that far at all. One thing I want to ask you, they said that they would be picking those names. Have they given any indication on when we could hear who that crew is, or is it kind of, we'll wait and see?
It's all wait and see. This was the big question just after splashdown, and NASA officials, all they said is that it's going to be soon, but they did not want to put a timetable on it. So at this point, we kind of just have to wait and see what could possibly happen.
Okay, got it. We're being conservative here. I know that we'll have to, wait and see what NASA has to tell us. Allie says this had to have been such an amazing opportunity, which, I mean, even for us watching, yes, it definitely was. Now, everybody fell in love with the crew from Artemis 2. Any chance we'll see any of them, come back for Artemis 3? Or is it not that, it's not like a crossover episode, they had their chance and now we're picking new people?
I think I've been reading a lot of comments, been hearing what a lot of people have to say, and I think a lot of people want to see the same crew, or at least some of the same people on Artemis 3 also, but still, there's no telling. Actually, I mean, Christina Koch had actually posted on Instagram earlier today showing that she was doing simulations as if she was on the lunar surface itself, as if she was actually on the moon. And so it kind of gives this alludes to the fact that maybe she could be on Artemis 3, but really there's no official word at all at this time, Judea, of who could be on this mission. Also for Artemis 2, for a lot of people that don't know, there was not only just the 4 astronauts, but there was 2 backups just in case. So even then, we're trying to find out, okay, so what does this mean for those 2 astronauts that didn't get a chance to be on Artemis 2? Does that mean maybe they'll get a chance to be on Artemis 3? Everything really is up in the air right now, but I mean, NASA has said they're working towards Artemis 3 and they're not letting the foot off the gas pedal at this point.
I had no idea that they had backups, but it makes sense because on a sports team you would too. And just in case, I guess, if someone had gotten sick right before the flight, they still wanted to make sure that they would be able to do it. That's actually a really interesting fun fact there. Chelsea, I'm going to let you go only because I know you still have to report for some of our other sister stations, and I don't want to block up their time. But if I can keep you guys all who are streaming out there with me, I want to let you know that NASA just put together a Threads account where they're talking all things Artemis 2. So any pictures, any videos that we didn't get to see live in real time, they've been posting those. And then, Chelsea just gave us that great fun fact. They have been posting a lot of NASA outer space fun facts to their Threads account. So a lot of people were really excited to see them because, as I said, they fell in love with that Artemis 2 crew. It's only time will tell who that Artemis 3 crew would be. And kind of like Chelsea said, I wonder if they're going to use those alternates who didn't get their chance to go out into space this time around, but maybe they could in the future. And we do know that while we're talking about Artemis 3, they're already thinking about 4, maybe even 5. The whole plan here is to eventually send people out into deeper outer space. They eventually want to put people on the moon and maybe even set up shop there with a space station on the moon. And then maybe one day we could see ourselves going all the way out to Mars. I mean, wouldn't that be special? Seeing some of the video back that we got from this mission is just incredible. But I do know some of you guys are still skeptical. I'm seeing people say we never went to the moon. 2 of them are actors, not astronauts. And then another person said that this is just a stage green screen. So I don't know what the skepticism is all about, but hey, everybody is entitled to their own opinion. And that's the beauty of being able to stream with us. You can weigh in real time in our TikTok live stream chat. So I do want to let you know that is always an option for you. We're also, of course, streaming on the Fox local app. Maybe that's how you found me here. Now, don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we have another conversation with yet another Fox News reporter. If you want to make a little money, you got to clear out your closet, there may be something of interest to you. We'll be touching base with Iliviana Calmes when we come back. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live. I'm Judea Murray. Did you know that it's getting less and less popular to go out shopping in malls? And maybe you have already gotten wind of that. I mean, after the coronavirus pandemic, I feel like a lot of people stopped shopping, but people still want to refresh their wardrobes. People want to see something new in their closet. Maybe you don't want to spend all that money right now while we're seeing prices go up for things like gas and just everyday groceries. So I want to turn it over to Iliviana Calmes, who's live for us in St. Louis, Missouri. I hear there's a whole new trend, a whole new fad out there. Talk to us about this thing called, what is it, clothes swapping?
Yeah, you might have heard of it. A clothing swap is where you bring clothes you don't want and you might leave with something that is much nicer, a refresh for your wardrobe, and it's all free because you're just trading it with each other. There's already an uptick in people buying secondhand clothes, and this just goes a step further. It's great because a lot of things are just becoming more expensive.
All people that wanted sustainable fashion, look for new clothes, you know, on cheap, you know, they're already doing some spring cleaning, so it like worked out at the perfect time. So that's kind of what sparked it, and it was a great turnout. We're like, definitely want to have another one. And everyone was leaving with bags of clothes, of new clothes that they didn't have to pay for, and then they brought clothes that they were no longer wanted.
Sounds like a really fun party. I want to join in for sure. She helped host a clothing swap that drew a crowd in Charlotte, North Carolina. That's what you're seeing there. She says people brought in the clothes they don't want. They left feeling pretty good about their new finds. She also says many shoppers she talked to are trying to go more sustainable, avoid fast fashion. That's low-cost clothing that's quickly made and quickly thrown away. A new resale industry report finds 72% of shoppers say higher prices are changing how they buy clothes. Here in St. Louis, one business owner says these events, though, offer more than just savings.
I think more people are just turning to how can I live life more sustainably. There's like I can get something out of this, but like also giving back. So you don't have to take something. You can always just come to a clothing swap and give your clothes and then maybe meet a couple of people. I think more people.
So you can't just bring things to donate, which is great. But you might want to get involved and actually get rid of some of your stuff too in exchange for some new items. And she says the best way to find a clothing swap in your area is social media. That's how I found these folks to tell me more about how they've done it as well. I'll send it back to you.
Okay, so I'm glad that you told us that we could be looking on social media for these things because I'm wondering if one would be popping up in Philadelphia soon, because I mean we are so close to New York, which is like a huge fashion hub, so I'm sure there are going to be a lot of people who want to participate. And just looking at some of that video that you got, it was like so overwhelming. I don't know about how you guys like to shop, but I can't be shoulder to shoulder with someone. So I already know that this isn't for me. But I mean, just the way they said that you could be, saving the earth. You're not dealing with fast fashion here, which a lot of people, saving a lot of money and saving the planet.
Well, if you like that flea market, estate sale, if you like the thrift store vibe, this is definitely for you. It's a cheaper version. But if you really like that slow shopping in a mall, maybe it's not for you unless, it's a smaller swap with just your friends at someone's house. You get some food. That might be the way to do it.
Yeah. But for those people, as you said, who like a good flea market, who like going to places like, like Buffalo Exchange and whatnot, this would be perfect for them. Okay, Oliviana, let me ask you this. I heard Priya mention that there are different ways that you could do this. You don't have to you don't have to take clothes. You can just give them. Are there any other rules that people should know about? For example, did they say anything about what kind of condition your clothes have to be in to participate?
Yeah, well, one good thing about clothing swaps is we all go to those events where you wear one thing one time and you don't want to wear it again because you got all these pictures and that wedding guest dress. So a lot of the clothes that people look for at these are newer. You want to bring your nicer stuff, not just stuff that you would be donating. And this is maybe potentially something you'd be thinking about selling, but you want something good in exchange. So typical, you want to bring kind of nicer stuff. But each clothing swap has their different guidelines. That second interview that I showed you, that woman said that they had accessories and shoes as well, but you want to check that before you start bringing everything.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you for answering my questions. I'm going to let you go too, because I know you have some other stations to go report for, but you guys out there streaming with us, would you be interested in something like this? Do you have clothes that you want to give away? This is the time, tax season is coming up. A lot of people end up donating their clothes because they want that tax credit or tax write-off. Obviously, whatever you donate at this point in time won't be applicable for this tax year, but maybe for next. So would you do something like that? Would you donate? Would you buy? Tell me in our live stream chat. I'm just curious. All right, we are going to keep things rolling, you guys. A lot more that I want to get into, like the weather. It has been absolutely gorgeous in Philadelphia. I think the high today was like 80. We're talking about 80 in April. Is that right? We'll be talking to our meteorologist just to see how long this hot, gorgeous, beautiful weather could last us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live, guys. What a tongue twist. We are taking a live look at the U.S. Capitol building because I have some developing news that I want to make sure you guys are aware of. A Texas representative, Tony Gonzalez, says that he's going to retire. He has admitted to an affair with a staffer, and he's not the only congressman in hot water right now over an alleged relationship that he had with someone that he would have been working with. So according to the Associated Press, he's a Republican Representative Tony Gonzalez said he would be retiring from Congress amid some bipartisan calls to expel him. He said that he would not be seeking re-election after admitting to an affair with a staff member. That staff member, you guys, later died by suicide. Now, his announcement came just hours after Democratic Representative Eric Swalwell of California said that he would also be resigning from Congress. He also confronted allegations of sexual misconduct, and we'll be going into that case in depth in just a little bit. Meanwhile, House Republican leaders say that they've already called on the three-term Gonzalez to not seek re-election. Again, he has also already confirmed that he would not be. And the House Ethics Committee has initiated an investigation against him. Under House ethics rules, lawmakers may not engage in sexual relationships with any employees of the House under their supervision. So a very big deal there. Again, that is why we are taking that live look at the Capitol. Now let's bring things closer back to home. Here in Philadelphia, we got a beautiful, beautiful round of weather, and I think it's going to last for a little while, but I want to check in with our meteorologist, Scott Williams, just to see, is that true? Can we expect for the rest of the week maybe t-shirts, shorts? Is that good for us?
Yeah, I mean, we are talking about full-on spring, getting rid of that and going right to summer wardrobe, Judea. We're looking at record-breaking warmth in the days ahead. Temperatures should actually still be in the 60s for high temperatures this time of year, but the numbers made it to 80 degrees officially this afternoon for Philadelphia. We started the day a little murky. We had some clouds, a few sprinkles out there. Not a lot of rainfall in this forecast for the upcoming week, but we will be talking about that heat. Here's a look at the high temperatures for today. 80 degrees for Philadelphia. Those temperatures made it to 80 in Allentown as well. Atlantic City at the airport, it was 80 degrees. Now, along the immediate shore, it will be cooler over the next several days because of the sea breeze that kicks in during the afternoon, and those water temperatures are still relatively chilly. But most inland areas will be making a run toward the upper 80s to 90 degrees by Wednesday into Thursday. That's when I expect record high temperatures to fall across the area. Now, numbers today once again made it to 80 degrees, and it's still going to be pretty comfortable stepping outdoors this evening. But take a look at this. The last time we had 90 degree or better temperatures, you have to go all the way back to September of last year. Now, the earliest 90 degree day, that was April 7th, 1929. So yeah, it can get hot in April, but we're talking about a string of days likely breaking records. Take a look at the forecast here for Wednesday. 91 the forecast. The record is actually 88 degrees back in 1941. And then for Thursday, the record's 90 back in 2002. We're looking at a high temperature of 93 degrees. So as we look at ultimate Doppler, a few thunderstorms far north and west. Those have been weakening as they try and approach the Poconos, but most of us just dry and quiet right now as we look at things. Now, expanding the view, severe thunderstorms far north and west around parts of the Great Lakes, even some tornado warnings right now south of Minneapolis, also into sections of Wisconsin. Not dealing with severe weather this week, just an isolated storm popping up over the next several days. Look at these temperatures. It's 79 right now in Philadelphia. We have 78 in Charlotte, 80 in Atlanta, temperatures upper 80s. San Antonio right now checking in at 88 degrees. That will be us over the next several days as we watch this ridge of high pressure, upper level ridge, dominate the pattern. Temperatures right now, 79 Philadelphia, north and west. Still looking at those numbers, 76 in Allentown after a high today of 80 degrees. Reading now at 79. These temperatures in the upper 70s, by the way, are still more typical of high temperatures for early June. These numbers this is what we expect for June 1st, and this is what it is right now, still in the upper 70s out there. So over the next several hours, Beautiful sunset expected right now, actually, is around the sunset time, and you can see that's unfolding across the Center City skyline. Those temperatures, though, holding pretty steady in the 70s by 9 o'clock, 74 degrees by 11 o'clock, 71. But look at the low temperatures expected for tonight. Now, what's interesting, the average low should be in the low 40s, but we're talking low temperatures in the 60s. Remember the average high temperature for this year? Yeah. 64 degrees. That's the expected low temperature for tonight. So when we start with a temperature in the morning of 64 degrees, you know we are going to warm up rapidly. In fact, take a look at the hour-by-hour forecast, and you can see 64 degrees at 7 o'clock, 79 by 11 a.m. That's where we are right now. And then going into the upper 80s by 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock, looking at numbers right around 87 degrees. So that is well above average for this time of year, but it gets even hotter. Tax day, April 15th on Wednesday. Yeah, the forecast a little taxing with that heat. We're looking at 91, 93 by Thursday, still in the 80s for Friday and Saturday, and then we turn cooler on Sunday with a chance of some showers, mid to upper 60s. But for next Monday, you might need the jacket again because we're only looking at high temperatures around 56 degrees. So it's still one of those kind of, tricky forecasts as far as what to wear one day. You're wearing the shorts one day, you're wearing the jacket and sweater another. So next Monday is going to be completely opposite of what we're getting for today. So, I mean, April is volatile. Judea, back over to you.
Yeah, you can say that again. Listen,
and water. Oh yeah, water. I had this water sitting here. We've got to stay hydrated. We've got to stay hydrated over the next several days.
We do.
Yes, because we're not used to the temperatures that are more like the middle of July and April. So yeah, hydrate over the next several days.
100%, and I'm glad that you gave us that reminder. Let me put my water back down there because this is the kind of weather that you can get a little woozy out there while you're walking. So make sure that you've got some water on deck. Also, if I would recommend some of those hydro boosters too. Now, Scott, people in the live stream chat absolutely loved your forecast. They said we're gonna be outside every day, every single day.
Remember the sunscreen too. So yeah. Sunscreen too, stay hydrated, check on pets. It is going to be a summer-like pattern. So in the middle of April, so you've still got to be mindful about, if it's too hot for you, it's too hot for your pets. If it's too hot for you, it's too hot for your kids. So just make sure that everyone's adequately dressed appropriately, loose-fitting light colored clothing. So the typical summer-like tips that we tell everyone to be mindful of, but we're telling you to be mindful of it here in April. So yeah.
Yeah, very interesting that we are nearing some record high temperatures, but I guess so far that's what my Philly experience has been like. Actually, it's like one day we're super duper warm, then it gets super duper cold. You never know, but it looks like the rest of this week is going to be a nice one. So I'll enjoy it, and I hope you do too.
All right, thanks. I'll see you.
All right, Scott. Now, from one Scott to the sports team, we're going to check in on the Flyers score, you guys. Let's see if we can pull that up as our Marcus Beasley gets ready to talk to us about what's happening with all our games. The Flyers are not doing so hot, but I mean, it is only the first period or first. What do they call them? Periods, quarters, period. Okay, look at me, you guys. I told you I'm learning something. Let's check in with Marcus about how we are doing. I hear that this is a very, very important game for Flyers fans. What's at stake?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's simple. You win, and you're into the playoffs. And unfortunately, as you just mentioned before, it is still early, but the Flyers are not off to a good start, already down 2-0. We're about a couple minutes left in the first period. Rick Tocchet, the head coach, had mentioned pregame earlier this morning that the team does kind of play fancy, kind of plays a little too comfortably when they're in front of their home crowd. A couple of reporters have been saying that there have been some kind of mental mistakes from this team to where they kind of appear a bit nervous, especially with a lot of the youth and how big this game is. So, I mean, there's plenty of time, but right now they're not off to the best start.
Okay, well, that's kind of a bummer to hear, but like we already mentioned,
I don't know what to tell you. I mean, first of all, let's call a spade here. You
Okay.
almost got my name wrong. You thought I was Scott, so already we were off to a bad start, and now I got to, talk about the Flyers. But I will give you some good news. I mean, the Phillies at last check, they're winning. They're up 4-0 thanks to Kyle Schwarber hitting 2 home runs and JT Realmuto hitting a RBI single. So at least somebody is, doing all right tonight.
And you never, first of all, don't call me out like that.
Oh, no, I'm going to call you out. I'm going to call you. You can't just say I'm going from one Scott and then
To
you
the-
just audibly
dot.
hesitate and then you're just like, Marcus in sport. No, I'm calling you out on that. No.
Listen, it's only because we were with him for all of the fantastic sports. He was just on my mind. My bad, Marcus.
I hear you. I hear
Wait,
you.
wait. So, but let's go back to the Flyers. See, it's just all the names for me right now. But let's go back to the Flyers. We were talking about how this is a very big game for them because this will be the first time since what year that they would have made it to the playoffs?
So in 2020, when hockey was in the bubble, they actually went pretty far in the playoffs. But in terms of an actual playoff game being in Philadelphia, you'd have to go back to 2018. So almost 10 years now. It's been too long, to be honest with you.
Wait, and on TikTok said you're being messy, and I agree. Thank you for having my back. Now, another question for you. Sixers aren't playing tonight, but I do hear they've got a big game coming up. Can you talk to me about that a little later this week? Who are they playing on Wednesday?
Yes, on Wednesday they host the Orlando Magic in the NBA's play-in tournament. Now, so the Sixers as of right now are the 7th seed, but they're not in the this is like the postseason, but not the playoffs in a way. Like, this is the play-in tournament where if they beat Orlando on Wednesday, then they secure their spot as the 7th seed and will play a series against the Boston Celtics. Now, if they lose on Wednesday, they will have a chance to still be into the playoffs. They have to play the winner of the Hornets and the Heat, which is the 9-10 seed matchup. So the Sixers would host that game, I believe, on Friday. And if they win that game, then they would go into the playoffs as the 8th seed. I know there's a lot of different compartments going on. So long story short, Sixers need to win, kind of like with the Flyers. They need to win the first game in order to secure the playoffs. But if they lose, they're not out of it yet. They still have another chance. For the Sixers' case, it'd be on Friday. So we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, they're going to want to win on Wednesday because, I rather them play the Celtics than the Pistons because the Pistons are amazingly good this year. But I would rather the Sixers play the Celtics. Good rivalry. I think it would be a better series. So hopefully they'll win on Wednesday.
Okay, yeah, all of our fingers are crossed, I think, for that. Let me ask you this, with Joel Embiid being out, have you heard any update on how he's feeling after that big surgery?
Well, we talked to the Sixers beat writer Kai Carlin last night on our Sports Sunday show, and he said best case scenario, Embiid would be gone for about a week or two, which, when it comes to Embiid, we always expect the worst case scenario when it comes to him. But if it were to be 2 weeks, the Sixers would not only would they have to make a playoff series, they'd kind of have to go deep, maybe game 4 or 5 in their playoff series in order for Joel to maybe come back. So I'm not 100% sure of his status just because it's always hit or miss when it comes to him. But if we were to expect a return, best case scenario, it would probably be in a couple weeks in maybe the thick of the first round or maybe even the second round, depending on how the series goes.
And, let me just ask you an honest question here. You don't have to answer if you don't want to. But even if he was back first round of the playoffs and we did make it to the playoffs, would we want him to play?
Absolutely. I think this team is a much better team with Joel than without. I think there's a lot of different components that can go in when Joel's on the court compared to when he's not on the court. So I think the Sixers, without Joel, I could see a sweep or at best them losing in 5. At least with Joel, their chances still aren't too great, but I think it'll be a much better series if he's in compared to if he's out.
Okay. All right, so I mean, we've talked about the Flyers, we've talked about the Phillies, we even got the Sixers in there. And speaking of the Orlando Magic, I don't know if you guys heard about this headline all the way up here in Pennsylvania, but when I was still down in Atlanta, of course, that game with them and the Hawks went viral because it was supposed to be Magic City night for Atlanta.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The NBA said absolutely not. We're not doing that. And they cut it. So, I mean, we still had T.I. performing, and I think they still had the Wings, but they could not call it Magic City Monday. So, very interesting now to see them out here against the the Sixers. Oh my goodness, it is not a good night for me and names. I'm going to take
I gotta go in TOC and like help you out. Like,
yes, you do.
All right, tag me in. I'll help you out here. I'll help you.
All right, Marcus, thank you so much for giving us a look at everything that's happening in the world of sports. We are going to check back in with you a little later on because we're going to want to know what's happening with the Flyers. Am I right, you guys? Before we take a break, I want to see, is the mayor still talking about the budget? Let's see if we can listen in. Remember, this is the first One Philly, what do they call it? One Philly, One Future. This is their first town hall budget meeting where they're talking about the 2027 fiscal year. How much money the mayor wants to spend and on what. Let's listen in for just a couple minutes.
All right, we've talked about a lot of these, so we'll just recap a little bit. So we have about a $40 million investment in this budget for economic mobility and workforce development. It is first on the slide because it is one of the things we are thinking about as we enter this third year. What are we doing with this money? So we are proposing to add 1,000 more career-connected learning slots to bring the total up to 9,000, which is really transformative for our youth.
Summer jobs for young people from the age of 12 to 24, as well as jobs during the course of the school year for about 2,000 to 3,000. Our young people need that money, so we want to bring as many jobs here as we can. Last year we had 8,000. We are proposing to add an additional 1,000. That would give us 9,000 jobs this summer.
All right, some other workforce development items, $14 million for financial counseling and empowerment services. It's not enough to have all the great programs the city has. We want people to be able to access them. And so we're really building out this work to make sure that people are able to enroll in our programs. We also have $10 million in workforce development initiatives, new workforce development initiatives, building on the work we've started in the first 2 years, and prioritizing small and local businesses. We've talked quite a bit about ending street homelessness. That is also one of the biggest investments in this budget. That's about $110 million over 5 years. This budget also includes the two $400 million borrowings for the home plan, which Jesse's going to talk about on 1 or 2 slides. We're sustaining that wellness ecosystem we were talking about, so all the work at Riverview and Philly Home at Girard and other supports around the community. And then it was a while ago, I talked about the community action centers and the complaints we get and wanting to be directly responsive. So some of the investments we're making that are directly responsive to what we hear from folks are adding the pothole squad, adding some quality of life work in the the police department, increasing our illegal dumping enforcement, and maintaining our beautiful new highway beautification investments. Let's go to the next slide. Investing in quality education. We talked a bit about the revenue proposals we have to help us invest in our children. And so in addition to what we talked about for the school district, we are also proposing an expansion of pre-K. So adding additional pre-K slots. Further expand. Further expansion of the extended day, extended year program, adding 2 more charter schools, bringing the total number of schools up to close to 50. Some additional operating support for the community college. They are the backbone of a lot of the work that we do, particularly with workforce development, and then the new funding for the school district. For public safety, we're continuing our $25 million a year investment in anti-violence grants, boots on the ground who do the anti-violence work in our communities. We are continuing that investment. Some other public safety items, $30 million in our capital program for Vision Zero to make sure we have safe streets, and additional targeted investments in our other public safety departments. This is a big number. It's basically $1 billion, $900 million invested in public transit in SEPTA. This is huge. Philly shows up for SEPTA. We have investments in our 5-year plan on the operating side. We have it on the capital side. This unlocks state money. We do our part for SEPTA. We're also continuing our zero fare program and our employee benefit so that employees who work for the city are able to take SEPTA to work. We also have some really transformative capital projects in this budget. This has been in the news quite a bit. We're really excited about it. $33 million over 6 years for HVAC in libraries because we don't want libraries to close due to HVAC issues. That'll be really transformative for us. We fully funded the capital costs for 2 new health centers in the Northeast. Where's the health commissioner? Investments in the fire academy so that we can hire more firefighters. Support for cultural institutions, including an increased level of investment specifically in the Dell. We are investing both on the capital side and the operating side, specifically in the Dell. We are also, we've been somewhat lucky with some of our major federal infrastructure grants. So we've got investments in capital match. So we have local match when we get major grants. So we're continuing that work. I think I talked about earlier, $400 million for paving in our capital program. That's the biggest investment in the capital program. And $180 million for parks and rec facilities. And then Tiffany mentioned the $615 million in our city workforce, our labor reserve, because we have to pay our employees what they deserve. And so I'll turn it over to Jesse to talk about the home plan.
Good evening, everybody. I said good evening, everybody. Uptown, you still with us? All right, well, listen. Listen, so, I mean, in case you missed it, I'm here to be very clear that the home plan is here. It's an initiative that's not just a line item or an investment in a budget. It's not just a stack of brochures in City Hall. It's a $2 billion ecosystem that's designed to meet you exactly where you are in your housing journey. That $2 billion is not to be confused with that 2.2 you heard a second ago, right? So whether you've lived on your block for 40 years or you're just trying to find your first home, we have tools for everything, all the above. Tools that will help you stay and thrive in this particular city here that you call home. So here's how we're going to put that money to work. One, it's about keeping you in the home that you have. And here in Philadelphia, we know that the most affordable home in Philly is usually the one that you're already in, right? So we also know that our houses are old and maintenance costs money, right? So if your heater goes or your roof leaks, we have basic systems repair. That's going to swoop in and that's going to help you fix that for free. For those larger home renovations, we also have Restore, Repair, Renew. That's this loan product that we have. It's been around for a while now. It's offering low-interest loans so that you can invest in your property at your own terms and not fall prey to predatory lending specifically. And if you're struggling with tangled title, let's say, you know, the house passed down after grandma or grandpa died, but the paperwork isn't right, we're here to help you solve those disputes, right? We're not just saving those houses, we're also unlocking the generational health that comes with it. The second bucket, we're committed to opening doors to home ownership. For our working families specifically and others, the dream of owning a home should not be sidelined by the down payment that you cannot afford. So through Philly First Home and Turn the Key, we're literally building the inventory and providing the cash to get you into those homes. Brand new homes, getting across the finish line into a brand new home. And with the One Philly Mortgage, which you've been hearing a lot about over this last year, we're stripping away that high interest PMI mortgage because the cost of entry should not keep you out for the home that you should be in. We're also here to protect our renters, right? The stability isn't just about home ownership, it's also about renting, and we got your back there, right? So our eviction diversion program is a national model for that specific reason. It's keeping families in their homes and bringing people to the table before a crisis happens. And there's also shallow rent and rent assistance. We're making sure that those are keeping houses affordable and making sure that affordable actually means affordable for the people who keep this city running every single day. And then finally, it's about investing in your block, right? Finally, we're looking at the neighborhood itself. That's what's really important about this plan. It's uplifting the neighborhoods, right? We're using a land bank to take back those vacant properties that are spread throughout the city, acquiring, disposing them and activating them into opportunities for home ownership and new housing, right? And then turning them into something useful. And through PHS Land Care, we're turning these gray lots into green spaces. And with our facade improvement and curbside appeal programs, we're actively beautifying the corridors that mean a lot to us, especially in our neighborhoods. And we want you to feel that sense of pride once you turn onto your street. So this is what it looks like when you spend $2 billion on a housing plan. This is how it looks when you invest the largest investment in housing that this city has ever seen. And we know that, improving our houses, it's going to garner some questions. And that next big question is, what about the cost of actually staying here, right? So to talk about that, I'll give it to Rob, who's going to talk about how you can manage your property taxes and give provisions for that financial support that'll keep you where you need to be. Thanks, everybody.
All right, and as he turns it over, remember we are listening in live to the One Philly, One Future Budget Town Hall. This is the first one that they're having here. And also remember that the mayor is proposing over $6 billion being spent in the 2027 fiscal plan, that fiscal year. So listening into what they want to spend this money on as members of the community, these residents, just like you and I, are able to talk back and forth, ask questions, and listen into this. It's really interesting here. If this continues throughout the night, we'll be dipping back in and out if you guys are interested in learning more. But I also want to throw up this map that we've had. It is a live map of the Strait of Hormuz, and it is showing the blockade. As you all know, President Donald Trump earlier said that he would be blocking Iran's ports as the White House ramps up the pressure on Tehran to make a deal or surrender. This is after not having much luck over the weekend trying to force them into coming out of this ceasefire deal that we have, and then just making it permanent, that there would be no more war, no more conflicts between the U.S. and Iran. Now, like I said, that clearly did not work, and so now this is the next step ahead. Earlier, President Donald Trump also made some threats. He said he would vow to kill any Iranian warships that made it near the U.S. blockade of these ports. He later on said that he would be willing to have more conversations and engage directly with Iran. So it's, a little up and down here, but we're keeping up with the updates for you guys. If there's anything else, I'll be bringing you back to that. And we'll also be talking about a rift between the president and the Pope a little later as well. So don't go anywhere. We have so much more coming up for you on Philadelphia Live. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live, you guys. I'm Judea Murray. The search continues for a woman who I hear has been missing for 2 years now, but her community, law enforcement, aren't trying to give up just yet. I want to turn things over to Jill, one of our reporters who's been live on this. Jill, you were talking to us about this situation. You heard about it. You wanted to make sure that we knew about it. Tell me what you've been learning today.
Yeah, hey there, Judea. So this is a really sad story. Danielle Lopez, she has been missing for 2 years to the day. So this is a grim anniversary, obviously, with it being 2 years. We spoke with her mother today, who's hoping that somebody has a tip. She says somebody has to know something about her whereabouts. The mother is even offering herself $25,000 for information on her direct location and safe return. So money's up for grabs too if you have any tips. But New Jersey State Police, this is how I found out about the story because I've only been here since October myself. New Jersey State Police Major Crime South Unit, they posted something today on Facebook and asking people, hey, if you have any tips, here's where you can send them. They had a photo of her, a photo of one of the last locations she was seen using some type of card, and so they're hoping that somebody sees her face in that post and maybe has something about her whereabouts. The mother, when I spoke with her, said she talked with her the day before over the phone. She seemed in okay spirits, and the mom said she was going camping in the Pine Barrens with her boyfriend. Boyfriend has no charges about this, but it's just people want to know, where is she? It's been 2 years, right? So let me give you a rough description of two of her last seen places in addition to a general description of her. She was 37 years old at the time, about 5'4", 135 pounds, brown hair, green eyes. Again, New Jersey State Police, if you go to their Facebook, will have photos of her today, obviously, in the later report. But if you want to look now, if you go to their Facebook, they do have photos of her there. So two places she was last seen: off of Route 72 in Burlington County, the Vincenttown Wawa, that's where they had surveillance photo of her. And then she was also last seen at Penn State Forest, which I just came back from. That's where we're driving back from. And there's still signs posted throughout the forest that mention missing person. So if you do have any details about her, you're asked to contact the Missing Persons Unit for State Police over in Jersey. That's 609-882-2000, and that's extension 2554. You can also email missing P, letter P, information at njsp.gov. So hopefully someone can figure this out. So she was last seen in Ocean and Burlington counties. So we'll talk with her mom today. And I really felt for the mom because Danielle had two other siblings. Both of them have actually passed away. Her father has passed away. A grandparent has passed away. So a lot of loss in that family. So I'm really hoping that Sue, the mom, gets her happy ending with this story and gets Danielle back.
Absolutely. I mean, we talked about a lot of really sad details here. We were able to pull up that Facebook post as you were talking about her, so we have a sense of what Danielle looks like. So guys, you out there streaming with us, if you have seen this young lady, you know anything about her whereabouts, again, it's been 2 years, but it's possible that someone knows something. I mean, Jill, how many times do we see where someone thinks that they don't have the right information, but then they, just give a random tip to the police, and sometimes that is what cracks the case.
Yeah. And even police in their post that I saw today, they said even if you think you have a tip, no matter how small or minor of a tip it may be, they really need the help. So if you have anything, if you've seen somebody that has looked like her, I know like GoPro footage, the mom has looked at that and verified that that's her daughter too. So that's how they learned that she was in two places on that last day. So if you have anything, just help out police, help out the mom.
And at the very least, share that Facebook post that Jill has been talking to us about. There have actually been over almost over 1,000 shares so far. And again, they do say anonymous tips are welcome as well. So if you don't want to give out your name, you don't want people to know who you are, you can do that too. But help a family out here, especially one that has been grieving so many different times let's try to bring that family some closure. Jill, thank you for walking us through this, giving us the latest there on that very sad story, but we're hoping maybe one day we'll have a brighter ending to it. All right, you guys, we're going to keep things going here. You know, we've been popping in and out of that budget meeting where the mayor is answering questions, talking back and forth about what we can expect for the 2027 fiscal year. Remember, this is the first time that they're holding one of these town halls, listening in to residents, answering questions, and also presenting exactly what it is that they want to spend this money on. The mayor has proposed over $6 billion being spent here in the city of Philadelphia. So of course there are going to be a lot of people who want to know, what do you plan on spending billions of dollars on? Is it going to help me? Is it going to help my family? Is it going to help my children? So they've been talking, and it looks like they're still going now. Let's listen in for just about a minute, and then I'll take you to commercial break.
See you at all of these different parties we're going to be doing. There'll be things across the city, from the Dell, when you start to June 25th. June 25th, Welcome America celebration with Eve as the headliner is free. Come to the Dell for that one. We'll be doing Michael Newman's Winner's Gospel on June 28th. June 28th, where Independence Mall Gospel, Kurt Franklin is the headliner. It's free. We got a lot of free activities that you guys can come. So just download that app, find out what they are. I'm going to turn it over now to do questions. Okay, so anybody that has questions can come on up. Commissioner Bethel, you on next.
I know it's kind of hard to hear you guys, and I've been trying to figure this out too, that maybe the mayor, maybe somewhere in the back of the room that we hear every now and again, it sounds like somebody's yelling, but when you listen in to what they're saying, it's a lot of important information. So I think that may be the mayor. Weigh in too if you guys think that's her as well. All right, again, we're going to keep things going. There's so much to get through. When we come back from this break, I want to give you some of the top headlines of the day. These are going to be your hyper-local headlines, things that matter to Philly, to New Jersey, to the rest of Pennsylvania, and of course Delaware as well. You guys don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live, you guys. For the next 5 or so minutes, I want to run through some of the biggest headlines, everything that's happening that you guys are reading about right now on the Fox29.com website, maybe even right here on the Fox local app. So there is a young man being grieved, being mourned right now as we speak. He's from Westchester University, not to be confused with Westchester, New York. This is Pennsylvania that we're talking about. He was killed in a crash right near his fraternity house. His brothers are sick to their stomachs and are trying to figure out how could something happen to a person like Nicholas. His name is Garrett Nicholas. He's just 21 years old. He was hit and killed by a car near Westchester University. And again, they say this happened right outside the Pi Kappa Alpha fraternity house, and it happened today. So they're gathering today. It happened over the weekend. He was a junior business management major from Allentown. They say he was struck by a car in the 300 block of South High Street, which is right off of campus. He was rushed to the hospital, but unfortunately he did not make it. He died from his injuries. Now, his brothers have been weighing in heavily. They say Westchester is definitely feeling this. Our fraternity is definitely feeling this. I had the pleasure of living with him this last year, and you'll never meet a kid like this, the happiest. That comes from Justin, who's also a junior at Westchester University. Another person says that he was a happy, funny guy, always laughing, always dancing. I mean, you can tell from the smile there in that picture that they were able to share with us. Say he was someone who's always known to be positive and uplifting. It's a wonder how something like this could happen. Now, I do want to let you all know that we don't believe that any charges have been or even will be filed against the driver who was involved in this crash. Officials aren't telling us much more about the crash. They have not identified the driver, but it seems to be there was no malintent here. And because there are no charges, it leads me to believe that this was really just an accident, but we're still waiting to hear back from the Chester County District Attorney's Office as well as the Westchester Police to learn about any of that, those charges or anything like that. But again, right now we have not heard that that would be coming. But the university does continue to mourn his loss. There's also been a GoFundMe set up for his family. We've got a link to it on our website and on the Fox local app if you are interested and want to learn a little bit more. And I mean, speaking of driving incidents and accidents, Northeast Philly is deciding to roll out a new campaign, and it starts today. There are speed cameras on Route 13, so if you were in the area, you need to slow down. You should have been doing that anyway, but now they're going to make sure that those of you who are driving through will be slowing down. This is a 60-day warning period that we're talking about, and there are new automated speed enforcement cameras all along that stretch of Route 13. Again, that does start today. So during this warning phase of 60 days, drivers will not be receiving fines. So you kind of are in the clear where you're not going to have to pay anything, but you would be issued a warning notice by mail if you are caught on those cameras speeding. Officials say that this program is designed to improve safety and hopefully reduce crashes. The goal, of course, is zero. They don't want to hear about anyone being hit, being killed anymore after this. Now, we heard from Rich Laser, who's an executive director of the Philadelphia Parking Authority. He said, and I quote, this is just part of his statement, "Speed enforcement cameras are critically important tools that have dramatically reduced speeding along Roosevelt Boulevard by 95%. He goes on to say this program is about improving public safety and, of course, saving lives. So now, right now with the 60-day period, again, I told you, you're not going to receive a fine, but you would get that notice in the mail. But once enforcement begins, any driver caught traveling 11 miles per hour over the speed limit would receive a fine ranging from $100 to $150, depending on the speeds you're going. So, I mean, weigh in. How do you feel about that price point? Is it enough? Is it not enough? The full ticketing would begin on June 12th at midnight. So about June 13th, you better be going the speed limit, otherwise that money could be coming out of your account. City officials also say that the program builds on similar camera systems that are already in place alongside this very same strip along Roosevelt Boulevard and Broad Street, which they say have helped reduce speeding and improve safety. So that's the latest that we have there on that. Again, you're going to want to make sure you slow down on Route 13. Meanwhile, big story that has been making its rounds on our social media pages as well. We heard that two people who were just walking in a Delaware Woods site They came across 14,000 bags of fentanyl. Not 14, not 1,400, 14,000. So how do you come across this kind of big drug bust? You got some pictures right there so you can take a look at what it looks like as police are showing it to us. Again, they say two people that were just minding their own business, walking in the woods in Delaware, stumbled upon two shopping bags. They opened them up and they saw this substance on the inside. It happened to be fentanyl, 14,000 bags worth. Investigators say that this shocking discovery was made in a wooded area just off of Miles Road. It happened about Sunday evening. So of course by Monday it was the talk around town. Again, those two people have been described as a juvenile and a young adult, who again they say were just walking and they found this. Police are asking if anybody has any information on these grocery bags, those shopping bags that were found out there in the woods. Please call them immediately. They need to learn a little bit more about this, hoping that anybody with information on the drugs come forward. I know that's going to be a hard task, but that is what they're trying to do. Now, if the mayor is still talking, I want to try to dip right on back out, get you guys the latest on what's happening with that budget town hall.
Helping to make sure that we continue to improve the quality of life for our residents. And speaking of quality of life, I have a question that directly hits the heart. Street cleaning every week. I've lived on my block for 6 years, and I have never seen my street cleaned. My address, and I won't give the personal address, I would just say the block, the 6700 block of North Woodstock Street. You will have your block cleaned this week. We will make sure we will have our clean teams out there so that you can have a visible presence. And if there's anyone else out there who has not seen one, it doesn't mean that we haven't been out there. We don't have weekly mechanical street cleaning citywide. Certain neighborhoods demand certain services, and certain other neighborhoods, they get other related services. We have district residential cleaning. Mayor Parker introduced a citywide city council district residential cleaning program. Every council district has a cleaning team right in their area. Anytime you have an issue or a problem, we work with the neighborhood action centers. You can report it through them. You can report it through 311. You can report it through right to sanitation, and we will come out immediately and schedule your block to be clean. Let us know. We're happy to do it. We also just had the Philly Spring cleanup, so if you want to continue to keep your block clean, we'll give you the bags, brooms, gloves, and we'll come pick up your trash as well. Together, we're going to continue to make Philadelphia the safest, cleanest, greenest big city in the nation. My next question is related, and I've asked my partners to come up and join me because this is kind of a cross-boundary area. Are there any plans to invest funds in both Fisher Park and the Recreation Center, as well as the 5th Street Business Corridor? So I've asked our Parks and Recreation team with our partner here, she can give an update on what the capital programs and plans are for Fisher Park and the Rec Center for the near future. And then I'm going to turn it over to Karen Fagley, who's going to talk about the 5th Street Business Corridor as part of the larger city strategy. So, Aparna.
Thank you, Carlton. Good evening, everyone. My name is Aparna Palantino, and I'm the Deputy Director overseeing the Capital Program Office. So I have some very great news for the person that asked that question. In addition to all the wonderful capital improvements and investments you saw on the slides below, Fisher Park has received approximately $200,000 of HVAC and lighting improvements. You will soon see a new storage shed coming to the site, new fencing, new gates. The basketball courts will be resurfaced. There'll be dog waste stations and new trash cans, but that's not it. Under design, on top of all of that, we have currently in the works interior renovations, including new flooring, painting, bathrooms, roof replacement, and HVAC upgrades. So we're going to get a lot of work at Fisher Park. Thank you.
Okay, so great news for you, those of you out there with that last response that we got. We will be dipping back into this budget town hall as the night continues. It seems like they're not going anywhere anytime soon. As you can hear, a lot of people are able to ask their questions. They all want to know how that $6 billion that the mayor wants for 2027 would be spent. So a lot of important stuff there. Now, I saw you guys asking a couple of questions during our biggest headlines. The first question, when I was talking about that young man from Westchester University who unfortunately lost his life after being hit and killed by a car, I mentioned that he was hit right outside of his fraternity house, and someone asked what frat was it. This is Pi Kappa Alpha fraternity that we're talking about here. Welcome back to the chat, Nady Cakes 123. I love having you, so I'm glad to see you again. Another person weighed in. This wasn't a question. We were talking about the speed cameras that will be set up on Route 13. They're actually already there. So for the next 60 days, they say slow down, because right now, even though they won't give you a ticket that you have to pay money for, there will be no fine. They will give you a ticket in the mail so that you know that you're put on notice that, hey, this is a new thing. You were going too fast. Now you know, hey, when I get to this spot, I need to slow down. But they do say when that 60 days is over, and that is going to be June 12th by midnight, you will get fined somewhere between $100 to $150. So we don't want to make sure that you guys are paying attention to that. Meanwhile, someone says these cameras are already all over Massachusetts. You will get a ticket in the mail with your picture on it. And yeah, that is true. I've seen the same thing happen even when I was living in Atlanta. Thankfully, never to me, but you know, they will catch you. They will show you. So you can't say this wasn't me. There will be a picture that says, no, this was you. So Route 13, make sure that you are slowing down. All right, you guys, we are going to keep this thing going. I want to talk to you about the president next. President Donald Trump actually accepted a DoorDash order, a delivery to the White House earlier today. We'll be talking about what was in the order, why he did it, and what he talked about afterward. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live, you guys. I'm Judea Murray. Earlier today, President Donald Trump, kind of the same way we all would order food, ordered DoorDash to the White House, and he got a special delivery. You're taking a look at DoorDash grandma walking right up to the White House with a bag of McDonald's for the president. And why would he do something like this? Well, we are coming up on tax day, April 15th. By the way, make sure that you go ahead and file your taxes. And if you remember the big, beautiful bill, President Donald Trump introduced something that he is calling the no tax on tips provision. He's trying to make it so, or has made it so, people who are waiters, bartenders, DJs, anybody who collects tips for a living, you wouldn't necessarily have to pay taxes on those tips. And so he invited that Arkansas native Sharon Simmons to the White House earlier today, and she handed off 2 bags of McDonald's while he promoted his no tax on tips policy. I want to let you listen into what he had to say to the media afterward, though. There was a lot that they talked about.
Yeah. I heard you're a great supporter. We appreciate it. I'll put this over here. And why don't we have a news conference with the press? Want to do it? Sure. You don't have to say too much. I think they're looking about hormone straight and various other things. Do you have any questions?
Mr. President, did you post that picture of yourself depicted as Jesus Christ?
Well, it wasn't depicted. It was me. I did post it, and I thought it was me as the doctor, and it had to do with Red Cross, as a Red Cross worker there, which we support. And only the fake news could come up with that one. So I just heard about it, and I said, how did they come up with that? It's supposed to be me as a doctor making people better, and I do make people better. I make people a lot better. As an example, the 11,000, I understand your husband's going through treatment.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He's
He
going
has
through some
cancer.
very serious cancer treatment, so
Yes, sir.
this goes a long way.
Yes, sir, it sure does.
Mr. President, are another round of talks planned with Iran? And if so, will you send Vice President J.D. Vance again?
Well, he's done a good job, and Steve and Jared, they've all done a very good job. And I can tell you that we've been called by the other side. They'd like to make a deal very badly, very badly.
What was the sticking point over? You said it was over nuclear.
It was over nuclear, very similar, yeah, very good. I guess you're listening. It's over the fact that they will never have a nuclear weapon. Iran, you marking it down? Iran will not have a nuclear weapon. And we agreed to a lot of things, but they didn't agree to that. And I think they will agree to it. I'm almost sure of it. In fact, I am sure of it. If they don't agree, there's no deal. There'll never be a deal. Iran will not have a nuclear weapon, and we're going to get the dust back. We'll get it back either. We'll get it back from them, or we'll take it.
Mr. President, as far as the naval blockade is concerned, what's the end game? Is it to force Iran back to the negotiating table? Is it to open up the strait so that gas prices ultimately come down?
Maybe everything. I mean, both of those things, certainly, and more. We can't let a country blackmail or extort the world, because that's what they're doing. They're really blackmailing the world. We're not going to let that happen. And you know, the amazing thing is, we don't, can you believe this? We don't use the strait. We don't need the strait. We have our own oil and gas, much more than we need. We have more oil and gas than Saudi Arabia. Think of this. We produce more. Saudi Arabia, and add Russia to it. Substantially more. And by next year, we'll have double that amount. So we don't need it, but the world needs it. And many ships are heading to our country right now as we speak to load up with the best, really, I guess you could say, somebody said the best and sweetest. I don't know exactly what sweet is, but when it relates to oil, it's a good thing. But they're coming to our country right now. There are many boats coming to our country. Now, it could very well be this is going to be settled before that. We've been called this morning by the right people, the appropriate people, and they want to work a deal. They would like to work a deal.
Is it your anticipation, Mr. President, that other countries will assist in this effort to blockade Iran and those specific...
Yeah, other countries are going to also.
Which countries, sir?
We don't need other countries, frankly, but they've offered the services. We'll let it be known probably tomorrow.
Has the blockade started, sir?
Yeah, started 10 o'clock.
Bishop Robert Barron supports you and your policies. He praises you for defending religious freedom.
Yeah.
He now says you owe Pope Leo an apology. Will you apologize?
No, I don't, because Pope Leo said things that are wrong. He was very much against what I'm doing with regard to Iran, and you cannot have a nuclear Iran. Pope Leo would not be happy with the end result. You have hundreds of millions of people dead, and it's not going to happen. So I can't. I think he's very weak on crime and other things. So I'm not. I mean, he went public. I'm just responding to Pope Leo, and you know, his brother is a big MAGA person, and he's a great guy, Louis. And I said I like Louis better than I like the Pope. Now you have to have law and order in our country, and that's what we have now. We have the lowest crime numbers we've had in a long time, despite the fact that many criminals were allowed into our country, but we've gotten a lot of them out. We've done a great job on crime. So we have the lowest murder rate in 125 years, since 1900, the lowest murder rate. So we believe strongly in law and order, and he seemed to have a problem with that, so there's nothing to apologize for. He's wrong. The other thing is he didn't like what we're doing with respect to Iran, but Iran is wants to be a nuclear nation so they can exterminate the world. Not going to happen.
And Mr. President, on Iran, if the deal is not reached by the end of the ceasefire, does your threat from before still stand?
Yeah, I don't want to comment on that, but it won't be pleasant for them, let me put it that way.
Do you still plan to charge a toll to use restraining order?
Has your timetable changed in any way in terms of ending this conflict?
No, it's going on. Right now, there's no fighting. Right now, we have a blockade. They're doing no business. I didn't like seeing boats come out if they were doing business with Iran, but if they weren't, no boats came out. So now Iran is doing absolutely no business, and we're going to keep it that way very easily. Don't forget, their Navy is gone, their Air Force is gone, their anti-aircraft is gone, their radar is gone, and their leaders are gone. It's a lot.
Do you still want to charge a toll?
Coming from predominantly going to China, Mr. President, has Xi Jinping reached out and maybe?
No, but we have a very good relationship with China. He would like to see this ended also. He certainly wants it ended. Everyone, I want to see it ended too, but we can't give a nuclear weapon to a group of people that have caused nothing but havoc for 47 years. Look, I'm the president that's done something about it. This should have been, and many other presidents regret that they didn't. Yeah, so I'm doing something.
Ukraine impeachment documents that were just declassified show that Eric Charanella not only submitted false information, but that he had no direct knowledge of the alleged conversation. It was all hearsay. Do you feel vindicated by those?
Yeah, I do. They're a bunch of crooked people. You're talking about with respect to all of the things that they put against me? Yeah. Well, it's come out that in so many different ways. Thank you very much for that question. I appreciate it. But in so many different ways, the election was rigged. The 2020 election was rigged. We found that out. What you just said is just a piece of that. It's a big piece, but minor, relatively speaking, compared to what they did. They cheated on the election. They cheated on the vote. And they cheated in every way possible. And it's the only way we got an incompetent man to be a president. And he was an incompetent man. Many of the things that we're talking about, even including this would have been settled a long time ago, not now. And it should have been settled by other presidents. But the election was a rigged election. We can't let that happen to our country.
It's concealment of exculpatory information. What should happen?
Well, it's a very serious charge against them and the Democrats. They cheat. They can't get elected with their policy. So their policy is no good. They want to have, open borders. They want to have men playing in women's sports. Do you think that men should play in women's sports?
I really don't have an opinion on that.
You don't? I'll bet you do.
No, I'm here about
Pizza.
no tax on tips.
Yeah.
Ma'am, maybe know your name, please. Have you delivered to the White House before?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Is it your understanding that during this period of time, while the U.S. has instituted this naval blockade, that oil companies will be able to send their oil tankers through the strait, get more oil out from this area?
Yeah, I think they're going to be doing very well there, and I think they're doing very well here. You know, a lot of tankers are coming up here. They're coming in empty and out full. And we have a great capacity to take care of that business.
Ma'am, may we know your name, please? Have you delivered to the White House before?
I have not. My name is Sharon Simmons.
And are the White House good tippers? Do you know?
Wait.
Potentially. Yes, very.
Mr. President, can I ask you something
That's
about
great.
Cuba?
Thank you. You reminded me.
Mr. President, one on Cuba, sir. You previously said that you had no problem with countries sending fuel to Cuba after previously promising to tariff them. What happened? What changed?
Well, we're going to see with Cuba. Cuba's another story. Cuba's been a terribly run country for a long time. It's got a bad system. It's been very oppressive, as you know. And we have a lot of great Cuban Americans, all of whom just about voted for me. And they were treated very badly. In many cases, family members have been killed. They've been beaten up and mugged, and terrible things happened in Cuba. And Cuba's a failing nation. And we're going to do this. And We may stop by Cuba after we're finished with this, but Cuba is a nation that was just been horribly run for many years by Castro.
You said may stop by Leader Bill Pulte. Regarding those two recent referrals for Letitia James for insurance fraud, do you know if federal prosecutors have evidence to charge?
Well, I don't know. I know she's a very corrupt person. And you're talking about the so-called Attorney General of New York. She's a very corrupt person. That's been proven now. And I know I have nothing to do with it, but they're looking at things all over the place, more than one state concerning her and concerning people like Comey, who's a dirty cop. Comey's a dirty cop, and dirty cops are bad. Nobody likes the police more than me, the law enforcement more than me, but Comey's a totally dirty cop, and we're not gonna stand for it. Yeah.
The UFC fight that's happening at the White House this summer, the UFC typically numbers those fights consecutively, but should they label this one UFC 1776?
That's a good idea. I'll tell that to Dana White. I like that idea, actually. I will say I've been involved with a lot of big events. I've never had an event that's had more interest than the UFC fight that we have right at the front door. Right there, they're going to start building about a 4,500 seat arena. And then in the back, at the Ellipse, we're going to have maybe 100,000, 50 to 100,000 people, I guess. They're building tremendous stages, and you're going to have massive screens of the fight. And it's a very popular sport. But I have never been involved, because of the White House and everything. There's a lot of reasons for it, but we're having a fight at the White House on June 14th, and we're going to have an arena built right at the front door. And if you want, is your husband up to coming? You're there? Does he like UFC?
He might.
If he's feeling good, we'll make sure you come, okay?
That would be wonderful.
That's
Thank
better
you.
than the tip I just gave you. That's a lot better. But no, if he's feeling good, right? Yeah. Is he doing okay? Is he going to be okay?
He's doing very well. He's doing very well. He actually, during the process, he wrote a book. And
go ahead, give him the name. Maybe you'll say.
He hasn't had it published yet, but it's a book on humility, and his name is Leo, and he's just
good guy.
Doing good. He's doing great.
How long are you married?
We have been married for 6 years.
Oh,
but we've, like most people, we've been together for over 10. So
that's very good.
Yeah.
Well, that's right. Nice to say hello to him. He's going to be good. Okay, he's going to get better, and he's going to be good.
Yes, sir.
Good.
Yes,
well,
sir.
I want to thank you all, and I especially want to thank you for being here.
Well, I want to thank you
Thank you
for the no tax on tips.
Oh, that's good.
It has helped my family out immensely, and I definitely appreciate it. Thank
That's
you.
so nice. The one thing that I just in leaving, we've had more good press for a change, having to do with the fact that people are receiving more money from their tax refunds than they ever thought possible. We had a man the other day got $5,000, another one got $7,000. They weren't expecting anything like this, and it's because of the great, big, beautiful bill. And that's why you came, and I really appreciate it. And tell your husband to get better.
I will.
And if he's feeling good, you'll come up and you'll watch that fight.
All
Okay,
right.
June
I
14th.
appreciate it.
All
Thank
right?
you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Any update on
Thank
DOJ
you.
though,
Thank
Mr.
you.
President?
Reaction
You
to
went to
Mr.
lead
Orban?
DOJ. Any update on who you went to lead DOJ, who you didn't nominate?
Well, I think Todd, as far as doing a fantastic job, I will say that. He's a great lawyer. I know that because he's been with me a long time. And so far, he's doing a great job. But we have incredible people in the DOJ, getting better all the time. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, sir.
All right, you guys, we talked about a lot there with the president. One of those things, as you guys have been writing in the chat over and over again, is trying to dive a little deeper into this rift that he has with the Pope. As you may all know, maybe you got to see it before it was taken down, President Donald Trump did post a meme. It's AI generated, of course, and a lot of people are suggesting that he was trying to make himself look like Jesus Christ, and they're saying that because of the garb that he has on. He says he thought of himself more as a doctor healing the nation. So first and foremost, I want to ask you, what do you think? What do you see when you look at this picture? Do you see a doctor? Do you see Jesus? Do you think he went too far? Now, of course, this didn't sit well with the Pope, a huge religious figure. We'll be talking a little bit more about what's going on between them and the words that have been exchanged. But I did want to show you this post because Representative Jim McGovern, he's a Democrat from Massachusetts. He posted and said that he was absolutely repulsed by the photo. It goes on to read, and I quote him, "Does Trump now think he is Jesus? First he attacks and insults Pope Leo. Now he depicts himself as Christ and tries to mock God. This is outrageous, offensive, and profane. Clearly he is not well. As an American, a Catholic, a human, I am disgusted." He posted that earlier this morning, and it has gotten so many views. As I mentioned, the White House actually did eventually take down that Truth Social post from the president that showed this original image that you're seeing there. Again, it is AI generated, so I did want to give you guys that disclaimer. So we'll be getting into that conversation a little later on. I see you guys diving into the comments already. Someone says, "I really don't care." Someone says, "Yes, Trump is a doctor." Then we say, "I see a man that we recognize worldwide who has on a beautiful red garment." Okay, so, as you guys continue to dive in, again, we're going to talk about this a little bit more, so don't go anywhere. Don't worry, we're talking more about him and the Pope. But first, I got to check in on the Flyers. We'll be checking in with the sports team in just a little bit. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live. I'm Judea Murray. If you were with us during the commercial break, you saw that live shot of Xfinity Mobile Arena. It is a very big game right now between the Flyers and Carolina Hurricanes. Yes, thank you so much. Like I said, I'm trying to learn all of this stuff with you guys. Just moved here and still trying to get it. But I want to get right on out to Scott from our sports team. Scott, talk to me a little bit more about what's riding on this, and also where are we at in that game?
Well, I can tell you, first of all, we were live down there earlier tonight, and I stayed there to watch the first period, which did not go well for the Flyers, but I can tell you the energy was great inside the building. The fans were definitely fired up and all excited, and that has since returned because the Flyers tied it up in the second period. So it is right now 2-2. They are going to be getting ready to start the third period here shortly. So basically, big thing here is if the Flyers win, they're in the playoffs. If they don't win, they'll have another chance to get in tomorrow night when they have another game. So it's very important for them here in this third period to try to come out. And at the very least, even if they get to overtime, they get a point. It's another step closer. But everybody wants them to get that win and get it done here tonight. So it should be an exciting third period.
So I don't want to be pessimistic or anything, but in the off chance that maybe we don't come out on top tonight, is it over for us? What's next?
No, they just need to get 2 points between tonight and tomorrow night to get in. They could also lose both games, and if the Washington Capitals lose tomorrow night, they can also get in that way. A lot of different ways that they can do it. but the bottom line is, if they want to get in tonight, they have to win. If they don't win tonight, then we kind of shift our attention tomorrow night and we start watching the Flyers as well as what the Capitals do in their game tomorrow night as well.
Okay, and then is anybody having a particularly great game tonight? Anybody having an off night?
No, I mean, they're all playing well. At the beginning of the game, the Flyers had a lot of great chances, a lot of great shots. They just weren't able to get them through and get them into the net. On the other side, you know, they did give up some goals that they really wish they would have had back. The defense let them down a little bit, but then they got in that second period and the offense came alive. They got they just got some really big goals there. Michkov got one of them. He's one of their younger players, so he's playing well right now. Tippett's having a good game at this point. He's generating some chances. Porter Martone, their young 19-year-old kid, is also generating some chances. So they're the guys who are playing well right now. We'll see if they can kind of keep that up into the third period.
Okay, good to hear. Now, I do know all eyes are on the Flyers right now, but there are a couple of other big things in sports happening tonight, like I think the WNBA draft is tonight, not too far away over in New York City. Have you had eyes on that at all?
No, well, no. With being at the Flyers game, I have not been able to pay attention to that, and because we also had the Phillies playing right across the street from the Flyers too, and they're up 12-2 last I saw. So no, I haven't been able to pay too much attention to the WNBA draft. But like we've talked about before, there is going to be a team here in Philadelphia in a few years, so that's definitely something to kind of keep an eye on as the years go by here.
And I've heard some rumors about some of the people who would want in on this if the Philadelphia did get its own WNBA team. Like I saw a headline out there that maybe even Will Smith had some stakes in the game, which would be really cool. Am I wrong?
No, he's a Philadelphia guy. I mean, it would be kind of cool if he was part of the ownership team for sure. You know, it's going to be exciting when it does get here, just because the WNBA is trending in the right direction with generating its energy. You know, like we've talked about, Caitlin Clark obviously brings some of that energy as well. You know, Angel Reese, you know, they all bring their own energy that help grow that league, and they need more players like that.
100%. So I can't wait to see what happens with that, and I'm glad that I came when I did, because I'm like right at the infancy of it. Yeah. Okay, so now back to the Phillies, because you did mention that they are up 12-2, which is insane. We are at the top of the seventh. Are we expecting that we're going to carry this game out? Is there any way that the Cubs could come back?
Well, I mean, you never say never. I've seen strange things in the game of baseball, but if they were to lose this game at this point, I think somebody would have to get fired. It's at this point they're doing, you know, but the puzzling thing with this team is they'll go for games struggling to score runs, and then they'll pop off for 12 tonight. You go, okay, well, is this the offense that everybody was expecting to see? Will it continue? Can they consistently keep it going? I think they're just as likely to come out tomorrow night and score like one run, and you go, wow, where did all that offense go? So it's a good sign. It's good to see and they're getting all these runs are coming from different players. Schwarber has 2 home runs, but everybody else is contributing with RBIs and base hits, and you know, that is good to see. And if they can kind of get more of that, then they will have more games where they're putting up, you know, double-digit runs or something close to it. So good sign. They'll take the win, assuming they can finish it out, and then we'll see where they go from here. Hopefully they can carry it over and do a couple of more wins against the Cubs.
Yeah, you know exactly what we want to see. Now let's round things back out with going right back to the Flyers, because earlier today you were on the Fantastic Sports Show having a blast with Jason Martinez. Talk to me a little bit about how the fans are feeling. I heard it's orange out tonight?
Yeah, they're kind of doing an orange out. They're really fully pushing for an orange out tomorrow night. But you know, there were a ton of fans out there in orange tonight anyway, and there were a lot of fans coming to the game. They were all filing in while we were on the air, you know, bringing everybody that Fantastic Sports Show. The energy level was high, and we, you know, and early in the game, those fans were really into it. The sad thing was Carolina scored the first 2 goals, and everybody kind of, that energy faded. But then the Flyers got those 2 goals in the second period that really brought that energy back now, and I think it's going to be an exciting third period. Like I said before, I think the fans are going to be well into it. It's going to be something close to a playoff atmosphere. Still not quite there yet, but the noise and the energy is definitely getting up there. So I think they can keep it going.
And this is why you can't count people out too soon because you never know what can happen. And I mean, let's say that third comes around and maybe nobody scores. It's clear that the Flyers do know how to bring it on home. The Easter weekend game went crazy when we got to see Martone score his first goal.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, they have done well in overtime, and that's where you look at it and you say, okay, well, if they can finish the third period even tied, then they get a point, and they need one more point, which they can still get by winning in overtime or winning in a shootout. And this team has had success doing that. So at least they'd get 1 point, and if they don't get the other point tonight, they would get another opportunity tomorrow night, and then at that point they'd only need a point. So like I said, there's so many different paths forward for this team, but yeah, they've shown that they have that resolve and that ability to win in overtime. So if they can get there, there's still that chance that they can get this done tonight.
All right, well, I hope next time I'm talking to you, we have some great news and we're celebrating together right here on the stream. We'll check in with you a little bit later. And you guys out there who are streaming with us, we are going to keep the conversation going. I want to give you a chance. Vote on it in our TikTok live stream chat. What do you want to hear next? Philadelphia has decided that they're moving forward with this ice out move. At least it's gone and been voted unanimously for in a committee. But we're also having the option to talk a little bit more about this rift between the president, Donald Trump, and the Pope. So which one do you want to hear about, Ice Out Philly or President and the Pope? Vote on TikTok. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live, you guys. I'm Judea Murray. Today, it literally happened today. The City Council's Committee on the Whole voted unanimously in support of the ice out legislation. So essentially, residents, a couple of other officials came together, they spoke in kind of like a panel-like setting, and they talked about how they don't want ice in their community. And so they're calling it ice out. Well, like I said, that legislation has been supported unanimously, and now it's going to have to go to the mayor, who hasn't said that she would oppose it. So let's listen into what they talked about earlier today.
Chair recognizes Councilmember Brooks. Thank you so much, Madam Chair. I just have a simple question. Like, what would your communities like to see out of the city of Philadelphia? What is the expectation? What do you guys want to see from this?
We would love to see you pass this law.
I'll take that as That's it. That's it. All right. Member Brooks, you good? Okay.
Yeah, I would like to say.
Oh.
I think just having a more pro-human approach to the situation. I think we're always talking about human beings, and the policies are just, like I mentioned at the beginning, and just very basic asks of our local government to stand up for people. So ultimately, like all of us have said, we want ICE out of our city, and we constantly hear that we can't do that. So this is just a very basic ask again, to do what's right for our folks.
Thank you.
It is important to pass this law, but also it is more important to be making sure that the law is implemented immediately and be in effect so that our people can trust and can call our police, can come to the city hall, can go to the immigrant courts without worrying about being under the surveillance.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I think speaking from the birthplace of independence and liberty, the city of brotherly love, we cannot be timid against these dark forces. We cannot be scared. We expect us to stand firm and to send a message, clear message, that Philadelphia does not tolerate ICE.
That's right.
And that freedom is given to us, is non-negotiable, that every citizen has a right to operate freely without being harassed by Gestapo-style ICE. That message has got clearly. Thank you.
Okay, so a couple of things there that I just want to make sure we're all on the same page about. Some of the things that they want done if this were to pass, even with the mayor. They say they want ICE not to cover up their faces when they are in public spaces. They want to get them out of city data, so this would be an executive order that bans their ability to for police to act as ICE agents. It would also prohibit city agencies from collaborating with ICE. It would prevent city agencies from collecting citizenship and immigration status data and sharing any of that kind of personal data with ICE. And there are a couple of other things that they're asking for as well here too. But again, with this preliminary unanimous support, it does still have to face a final vote, which I think could happen as early as April 23rd. And then from there, the mayor will have to take a look at it and decide if she wants to sign it. And then, we'll see what happens with the city of Philadelphia. So that's that on that. I mean, I want to ask you guys what you think, but I already see you guys weighing in on TikTok. Some people say they don't support. Some people say this is too bad. This is federal. It's not up to the city to make a decision. So, yeah, you guys are voicing your opinions. Please continue to do that. Every now and again, I may be able to give you a shout out or read your comment live right here on Philadelphia Live. All right, still ahead. Remember, we're talking about things that are happening live right here on the grounds. I want to talk to you about a potential, it's a rumor, but it's the potential for a couple dozen teachers to be laid off from a local city school district. We'll be talking with one of our reporters on what that's all about and whether it's true when we come back. back to Philadelphia Live. I'm Judea Murray, and as we were talking about the city of Philadelphia and their budget, remember the mayor said that she's hoping for over $6 billion and what she wanted to do with that over in 2027. We had been listening into a town hall a little earlier on. Well, while we're talking about budgets, there's a local school district, and I hear that they may be having some difficulty trying to balance out their own. And that has led to some rumors being spread that some teachers might be losing their jobs. So I wanted to touch base with one of our reporters, Joanne. She's been on this. First of all, Joanne, have you gotten any sense that that rumor may be reality?
Well, there is some reality to what was talked about over the last couple of weeks, but tonight the Bensalem School Board is still desperately trying to figure out ways how to fill a gaping budget deficit. And tonight here at a board meeting, they talked about alternative revenue sources, possible alternative revenue sources. But the bottom line is there will be layoffs. We're not sure who will be laid off in this district of 6,300 students, but there will be layoffs and likely tax cuts as well. So in the meeting tonight, seems as though the proverbial axe will fall on jobs at the Bensalem School District. Officials still will not say definitively how many will lose their jobs in the wake of a $16 million budget shortfall for the coming year. Current board members do blame some previous school officials for spending more than they had, but they also say funding formulas for special education and charter schools are part of the problem and add to the millions in extra spending. Now, the board is trying to find alternative revenue sources to mitigate job furloughs and tax increases. Here is one of the board members we spoke to this evening.
Anything that is not staff, we are desperately trying to do. I know we have already had to announce some positions that are going to be affected, but we're trying.
Apparently, some staff members in the district have already been notified. Others will be notified this week. So those job cuts are coming. Now, the board has another budget hearing scheduled later this month, and they say that right around then they will have a definitive number. Some people were talking about 30, 35 staff members. Again, they are not releasing the exact number, but it is very likely to happen. That is the very latest from Bensalem. Back to you, Judea.
Okay, Joanne, you say a little later on this month they're planning to have that meeting. First and foremost, do we have a specific date? And then is that open to the public? Is there any way that our viewers could be a part of it if they wanted to?
Yes, they can check the school board website. There's a calendar on there, and there will be a public, forum at that meeting. We did talk to a couple of parents tonight. They are increasingly worried about how their children will be impacted with fewer teachers perhaps in the classroom, fewer paraprofessionals. It is unclear who will be losing their jobs, but again, the school board member that we spoke with tonight said it is happening. So it's still a wait and see. Again, they were talking about these alternative funding sources. One of the things they were talking about was perhaps solar panels on school buildings to save on utilities. They were talking about perhaps transportation consolidations. They're also talking about this a unique program to find delinquent tax people who are delinquent on their taxes in Bensalem to try to mitigate all of those all that extra spending that's been done over the past few years.
Well, yeah, they're going to have to get pretty creative because you said we're talking about a couple $1 million worth of gap there.
Yep,
that's a lot of money
exactly.
to fill. So, I mean,
sure
good
is.
luck to them. There are just so many things, so many questions that I have, and I don't even know where to start because I don't know exactly what we know and what we don't. As you have been covering this, let me ask you as a journalist, was anything surprising to you? Are there any questions that you still have as you want to continue covering this?
Not necessarily. Listen, budgets are budgets. Obviously it costs a lot of money to run a school district. There are unforeseen costs. And again, they did talk about the special education funding. Obviously, when special education students come to the district, it costs more to educate them and to take care of them than it does your average student, and the same thing for the charter schools. The district has to pay for those students who are in the alternative schools, the charter schools. So there are obviously all sorts of extra costs that are not figured in perhaps, but obviously in the future they have to have a balanced budget by June, so they're going to have to figure out how to do this. Obviously, school districts rely on local funding, obviously taxes from local residents to pay for the schools, and obviously they get some state funding as well. And those state funding formulas, we are told, are somewhat antiquated when it comes to the charter schools and the special education. So that'll come into play as well, but that won't be worked out anytime soon. So again, the likely result are layoffs and increased taxes. Now, they can only increase taxes so much per year. I think it's about 4%, 4.2% in any given year. Will that make up the shortfall? Apparently not. So that's why they will have to also do the layoffs, or furloughs as they are calling them. So that's what they're facing here. And apparently it's not just here, it's in other districts throughout Bucks County, throughout Pennsylvania, and over across the river. Cherry Hill is talking about the same thing, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, there are schools all across the country going through this as well. And one thing I can tell you is I would not want the job of having to figure out where we are going to cut, because no matter where you do it, someone's going to suffer. See, it's an impossible job. Good luck to them. You said June is when we are trying to have this done. Of course, we are already in April.
A balanced budget, yes, exactly.
Yeah. That's not a lot of time to get this figured out at all, but good luck again. Brenda Lamore, who was joining us on TikTok, I promised I would give her a shout out, but she also said, she had a comment in here and I just scrolled past it. She said this shouldn't be a rumor that we're talking about here. It shouldn't happen. We need our educators. And I mean, yeah, that's the truth. We all definitely do.
Yep.
As you're talking to me about the special educators, especially, my heart is a little softer to that. My nephew does require a paraprofessional, and so I can only imagine if he didn't have that, just how much harder it would be for him in any of his classes. But again, no matter where you cut, someone's going to be hurt.
Precisely, whether it's the students or a school teacher who relies on their job in the district to support their families, right? So
yeah. All right, Joanne, thank you so much for keeping us updated on this.
Sure.
We'll be seeing you in the 10 o'clock, right, for more information?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. All right, so that, you guys, that means do not go anywhere, because the news will continue with Joanne in just a little bit. All right, coming up, we got some of our biggest headlines of the day. I talked to you about some of the bigger things that were happening locally here in Philadelphia. We're talking about Pennsylvania. We're also talking about Delaware. But I also want to get you some of the national headlines. President Donald Trump, Pope Leo, they are going at it. We'll be talking about why and what that's all about when we come back. And then I also want to let you know that the FAA is actually looking to gamers, hoping that maybe you guys can solve their little problem, their little hole when they're looking for air traffic controllers. So how exactly that would work? What's the correlation between a video game and making sure that these planes make it out on time and safely? We'll talk about it when we come back. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live. I'm Judea Murray. The conversation got really heated in that last story with Joanne. We were talking about a school district, Bensalem Township. They're talking about potential cuts to their educators, their staff. They're hoping that they don't have to do that. They're hoping it doesn't come to that. But considering that, being that they are millions of dollars, they have $1 million gap in their budget, and they're trying to figure out how they're going to, go ahead for the next school year. Money has to come from somewhere. So in our live stream chat, I was talking with Smitty Rich for You, who said state lotteries and taxes are supposed to pay for this. What's going on? Then also said that lawmakers should take a pay cut. Smitty, while I agree with you that our taxes should be covering this, and as Joanne mentioned, they could eventually up the taxes for people in that area, but they can only do it by a certain percentage, and maybe that wouldn't even cover the bases here. But with the state lotteries, I want to let you know, Pennsylvania's lottery, official website, they say that 100% of the proceeds from the lottery actually go to older Pennsylvanians. So they're not going to the schools, they're not going to our children. So that is why that money isn't going there. I just wanted to make sure that you were aware, because I was actually surprised by that. That's not the same in every state, by the way. Okay, so let's talk about some of our biggest national news. As you all know, there's a rift right now between President Donald Trump and the Pope. And if you're new to this, let's talk about what's going on there. President Donald Trump has apparently taken aim at Pope Leo for his criticism of the United States' actions in Iran. But the Pope is also responding. He's not backing down. He says he has no fear of the Trump administration. And he says that he is going to continue speaking out. So we know that, the Pope has always been outspoken on the policies of his home country. He's from here in the United States. He's spoken out about issues like immigration, how we handled Venezuela and the president, and most recently the war with Iran. Just on Wednesday night, President Donald Trump didn't hold his tongue either. He's not known to do that, so of course he spoke out. It says, "We don't like a pope that's going to say that it's okay to have a nuclear weapon. We don't want a pope that says crime is okay in our cities. I don't like it." And the Pope has also called for peace over military action in Iran. He's heavily criticized President Donald Trump for his threat to destroy Iranian civilization. He says it is truly unacceptable. I pulled together a little bit where you can hear from the president and then you can hear from the Pope. They'll be talking a little bit more about how they see the other side's argument. Let's listen in.
He now says you owe Pope Leo an apology. Will you apologize?
No, I don't, because Pope Leo said things that are wrong. He was very much against what I'm doing with regard to Iran, and you cannot have a nuclear Iran. Pope Leo would not be happy with the end result. You have hundreds of millions of people dead, and it's not going to happen. So I can't. I think he's very weak on crime and other things. So I'm not. I mean, he went public. I'm just responding to Pope Leo, and his brother is a big MAGA person, and he's a great guy, Louis. And I said I like Louis better than I like the Pope. Now, you have to have law and order in our country, and that's what we have now. We have the lowest crime numbers we've had in a long time, despite the fact that many criminals were allowed into our country. But we've gotten a lot of them out. We've done a great job on crime. So we have the lowest murder rate in 125 years. Since 1900, the lowest murder rate. So we believe strongly in law and order, and he seemed to have a problem with that, so there's nothing to apologize for. He's wrong. The other thing is he didn't like what we're doing with respect to Iran, but Iran is wants to be a nuclear nation so they can exterminate the world. Not going to happen.
The things that I say are certainly not meant as attacks on anyone, and the message of the gospel is very clear. Blessed are the peacemakers. I will not shy away from announcing the message of the gospel, of inviting all people to look for ways of building bridges for peace and reconciliation, of looking for ways to avoid war anytime that's possible. To put my message on the same plane as what the president has attempted to do here, I think is not understanding what the message of the gospel is. And sorry to hear that, but I will continue on with what I believe is the mission of the church in the world today.
All right, it may have been a little difficult to hear. The Pope, he was on an airplane there, but again, he was suggesting that he's not afraid of the president and he will continue, as he says, speaking the gospel. Okay, so with that in mind, everything that I just told you about this rift between the two of them, I want to show you a meme that was posted by the president a little earlier. It has since been taken down. It was put on the Truth Social. Let's see if we can pull it up for you guys. All right, so you are taking a look at President Donald Trump. This is an AI-generated meme that he posted to social media. In it, people were suggesting that he was trying to make himself look like Jesus Christ, a religious figure. They were suggesting that this was his attempt at mocking the Pope based on the, arguments that they've been having lately. But then some people also take a look at this and say they don't see Jesus at all. And the president says that he didn't see that when he put this together and put it on social media. He said he saw himself healing the nation and that he thought he looked more like a doctor. And so you're taking a look at a screenshot of that post. Representative Jim McGovern from Massachusetts, a Democrat from Massachusetts, posted this on his social media page. And his caption on it is, "I am repulsed by this photo. Does Trump now think he is Jesus? First he attacks and insults Pope Leo. Now he depicts himself as Christ and tries to mock God. This is outrageous, offensive, and profane. Clearly he is not well. As an American, a Catholic, a human, I am disgusted." So again, that was what was put out on social media by the representative. He screenshot this post that has since been taken down from President Donald Trump's Truth Social page. And shortly after that, the president called the Pope weak on crime and suggested that he would not have been elected if President Donald Trump had not been in the White House at the time. Pope Leo says that he's not directly attacking Trump and that he will continue to share the message of the gospel. So again, while the two of them seem to be at odds going back and forth, that's the latest that we have there on that. Now it's about that time. I want to get you a check-in with your forecast. Our meteorologist Kathy Orr can talk to us a little bit more about this warm, beautiful weather that we've been having. Kathy, please tell me it's not going anywhere anytime soon.
It's not going anywhere anytime soon. Yes, I'm going to tell you exactly what you want to hear, Judea, because it's the truth. We're seeing temperatures today that made it to 80, tomorrow mid-80s, and then we're going to go upward from there. I know Scott earlier briefed you on the back-to-back 90-degree temperatures. I mean, it is going to feel like summer. So take a look at today's highs. The normal high is 64. We were well above that. Philadelphia making it to 80, 79 degrees in Wilmington, Reading in the 80s, as well as Atlantic City. That's at the airport. Trenton reporting 78, Allentown at 80 degrees. So as we look at the current numbers, still seeing those temperatures in the 70s inland, down the shore in the 50s and 60s with that ocean breeze. And overnight lows will be in the 60s. So this is so far above average. That normal low is 43. So we're looking at numbers about 10 degrees above normal on the low side. So tomorrow we start off in the 60s. We quickly rise through the 80s, and I wouldn't be surprised if some neighborhoods make it to 90 degrees. We will hear of some of those temperatures spiking. What about the Phils games? If you're going over the next couple of nights, they have a homestand against the Cubs. They played tonight. They were doing very well. You can see first pitch is at 6:40 for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. For Tuesday, the temperature at first pitch will be 85. By Wednesday, 88. And that first pitch temperature Thursday will be 90. So really feeling like summer baseball at Citizens Bank Park. What about the wind? Tomorrow we'll see some wind, not as much as we saw today, but wind still gusting to about 25 miles an hour. As far as Wednesday, this is when temperatures really begin to spike. Southerly winds, and it will feel like it's around 90 degrees. Upper 80s to the north and west of the city and down the shore in the 70s. Of course, because of that ocean influence. Ocean water temperatures are only in the 50s. It takes a long time for them to warm up. So you're going to see this cool influence down the shore, but still 70s this time of year. It's pretty nice down there. Back-to-back records are possible, very rare in the month of April. Wednesday's forecast high 91, the record 88, set back in 1941. And of course on Thursday, the record is 90. We're going for 93 degrees, average highs in the 60s. So don't expect this to last. And I don't think we want to, because we're just not used to this type of weather. I think it's going to put a strain on us, to tell you the truth. It's going to be for 2 days. It's like a flash sale, right? So 86 for tomorrow. Tax days Wednesday, 91, potential record. Thursday, 93, potential record. Then we drop 10 degrees for Friday and Saturday, but still nice in the 80s. And then Sunday, that's transition day. Showers, cooler, 60s, and then 50s by Monday. So we rise very quickly and we fall dramatically. And when you look at the bar chart like this, the 10-day trend, look at that. 5 more days of warmth, then Sunday's like, and then Monday we really bottom out before rising again through the 60s, which is where we should be for this time of year. But all in all, this is going to be a week to remember for the month of April. And also, Judea, very dry. We are abnormally dry throughout the region, and in some areas in almost a light drought situation. We need the rain. We usually get it in April, and so far, at least for the first half of the month, we're not getting it.
Yeah, they say April showers bring May flowers, and I have not seen a single drop. What's going on?
No, and we need it. And the problem becomes when it's very windy. We have many forests around us, the Wharton State Forest in South Jersey being one of them. And then you have these red flag warnings, and that's because of low relative humidity, very warm temperatures, and the warm temperatures are brought in by strong winds. So the combination of that, anything that's ignited in a forest could become a major hazard and extreme wildfire. So this is the time of year we get concerned about that, especially this week. We'll be hearing more about that.
That's something that I think people don't pay enough attention to. We always, when we think wildfires, think about California. That's not happening our way. Well, that's not necessarily the truth, because as you just mentioned, you get that really, really dry, warm weather that we're seeing now, and that is the perfect recipe for disaster. So we got to be careful too.
Absolutely.
Okay. Kathy, thank you so much for walking us through this. And with these near record temperatures, I'm going to see the silver lining in all of this. It sounds like ice cream weather. And then what'd you say, down the shore weather?
Oh, yeah, it's definitely shore weather. For sure. Yeah, it's soon. We're counting down to the Memorial Day weekend. I think we have like 39 days.
Yeah, it's not that far away. I hope you guys are already putting your PTO, because you're going to need it to make sure you get as much time off as possible. Kathy, thank you so much. And I see you guys out there commenting as well. Somebody said, Lord, the heat, no. So I'm actually shocked. I thought some of you guys would be excited to see the sun come out to play after we had so much cold the last couple of days. And then I also see we got a hater in the chat. Heather said she wants the Cubs to win. No, I'm sorry. She says the Cubs will win. Don't speak that over here. We are Phillies fans. And speaking of which, in a little bit, we're going to get another update on what's going on with the Phillies, as well as the Flyers game. Is this really big? We want that spot in the playoffs. We'll be checking in with Scott or Marcus a little later on from our sports team. But remember, I want to talk to you a little bit more about the latest with this conflict, this war with Iran, and then we're also going to go over this new push from the FAA. Remember I told you they are looking at gamers. They want gamers to maybe fill the spots of some of those air traffic controllers. So what's the connection? We'll be talking about that when we come back. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live. I'm Judea Murray. Someone said Philly looks so pretty at night, and it sure does, with all the lights just glimmering and beaming. It is a beautiful sight no matter which camera we put up for you all. Speaking of cameras, though, I want to get you a live look out at PHL, this Philadelphia's airport. Again, you see those glimmering lights. It is so pretty. But we got an important story to bring up for you all. I don't know if you heard, but the Federal Aviation Administration, also known as the FAA, they say they're looking for the next generation of air traffic controllers, and they think they're finding them with you people at home, maybe just playing video games. So here's the deal. The FAA has this new campaign, and they say that while they're struggling to fill these jobs, as you know, during a couple of our recent government shutdowns, hold on, let's take that banner down. It's the wrong one. Let's see if we can get the other one up. Well, we had those recent issues with the government shutdown where first it was air traffic controller workers not being paid, and then we were also seeing the TSA not being paid, and all of a sudden ICE was put into the airports. It's really been a mess when it comes to travel around the United States lately. But they say with this new campaign, they're hoping to fill the shortages that they've been having. U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy said that this campaign has a gaming focus. So again, they're looking at those of us who are home playing video games because they say you have some really important transferable skills that includes multitasking and even spatial awareness and problem solving. The agency said that they found through several exit interviews with some of their controllers that they had actually been using gaming as a tool that whole time. So if you think about some of the people who use like flight simulators and stuff like that, or maybe even just regular games where you're constantly talking and, you know, as you see, moving around with the controller, your joystick, but also keeping your eyes on the screen and maybe your eyes on the map. They say that those are the very skills, that complexity that they're trying to fill with these jobs. So, according to the FAA, more than 200 million Americans play video games, and they're hoping that one of you gives them a chance. The FAA will start accepting applications this Friday at midnight for its annual air traffic control hiring window. If you'd like to know more about it, they actually have a Facebook post put up right now. On Tuesday, tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, they're having a live conversation with air traffic controllers and a couple of experts from the FAA Academy and Human Resources. So if you know, this really did pique your interest, or you know someone, a young person who might want a job in this, you know, some of those airport jobs are some really good jobs. You might not want to pass up this opportunity to listen in, ask questions. Again, they have a Facebook post with some links and some more information if you'd like to know more about it. And then remember, the applications to be an air traffic controller open midnight, April 17th. You can find out more information either on Facebook or FAA.gov. So that's the latest there on that. Another trending story that maybe you've heard a little bit about, Dollar General is having a settlement, and you might be able to get a piece of the pie. So we're not talking about just a couple of dollars here. We're talking about $8.5 million. Of course, it would then have to be broken up with a couple of different people. But here's the deal. April 13th, today, is the deadline to file your claim in the Dollar General's $8.5 million pricing settlement. So if you want it, first of all, here's how you know you're eligible. You got to be a U.S. shopper. You had to have shopped at Dollar General between October 10th of 2016 and November 19th of 2025, which is pretty easy. If you've got a Dollar General in your area, you probably have shopped there. You can claim up to $10 or the overcharge, max 2 claims per household. So honestly, you're only looking at about $20 here, but money is money, and it can come in handy. Put that $20 away for, I don't know, a rainy day, or invest it. You never know what can happen to it. But again, today is the last day. This is a class action lawsuit that accused Dollar General of having discrepancies between the prices of merchandise that was advertised on their shelves versus what they were actually going to charge once they made it to the checkout line. The Pennsylvania Attorney General said in a news release way back in December that Dollar General, and I quote, failed more than 40% of pricing accuracy inspections between 2019 and 2023. 40% is crazy. company has denied any wrongdoing, but of course they are dishing out this settlement. So if you want a piece of the pie, we've got an article up on our website. You can file a claim if you click the link that we have available for you on fox29.com, or you can even look up this article on the Fox Local app. All right, last but not least, earlier today out in Texas, the FBI raided a home, and they say this is the home of a suspect who's been accused of throwing Molotov cocktails at Sam Altman's San Francisco house. Now, who's Sam Altman, you might be asking yourself? He's the OpenAI CEO. So if you've used ChatGPT before, you know what OpenAI is. They say that this man, Daniel Moreno Gama, allegedly tried to kill the CEO when he threw that Molotov cocktail in the home. The suspect is only 20 years old. Why he targeted the CEO is not immediately clear, but he's been charged with attempted damage and destruction of property by means of explosives and possession of an unregistered firearm. This is all according to the federal criminal complaint against him. Again, the FBI was looking through his home. They raided his home. It was caught on our cameras. If you were watching earlier today, the 12 to 2 on Philadelphia Live, you got to see this happening right before your very eyes. Now, as far as it goes, like I said, it's not completely clear why he targeted the CEO, but I can tell you they have since found that maybe he had some anti-AI views and that he was also carrying a manifesto when he approached that home and was arrested out in San Francisco. So a very big deal that we're talking about here. Thankfully, no one was hurt when that Molotov cocktail was thrown, because it could have gone a whole lot worse. And as you can see from this video, they were trying to do their due diligence to find all that they could when this happened. So that's the latest there on that. But last but not least, I want to give you an update on everything that's been going on with this conflict. We have been talking mostly about the U.S. and Iran, but how are things going for Israel? There was a press conference a little early on today. Shosh Bedrosian, who I actually used to work with, so it was interesting to see her in this capacity, but she's now the spokesperson for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, and she provided an update on Israel's side of the conflict. So let's listen in together.
At the start of today's government meeting, Prime Minister Netanyahu expressed his firm support for President Trump, who decided to impose a naval blockade on Iran after they violated the ceasefire agreement by choosing not to open the Strait of Hormuz and violating international maritime law. Prime Minister Netanyahu spoke with Vice President J.D. Vance about the collapse in these negotiations yesterday while the Vice President was traveling back from Islamabad. Vice President Vance made it very clear to the Prime Minister that the central issue for President Trump and the United States is the removal of all enriched material and ensuring there is no more enrichment inside of Iran in the coming years and even the decades to come. This is their focus and, of course, important for us as well. Israel and the United States are in constant communication and coordination with each other. This is a level of coordination we have never before seen in the history of the State of Israel and for the Jewish people. From our armed forces to our leaders, the relationship between Prime Minister Netanyahu and President Trump has never been closer, as the leaders speak almost every single day. Now, the campaign against Hezbollah in Lebanon is continuing. The IDF is discovering more and more Hezbollah terror sites every single day, with many of them located in the heart of civilian neighborhoods or infrastructure. Prime Minister Netanyahu visited our heroic soldiers in southern Lebanon just yesterday within the security zone. Our forces are pushing Hezbollah away from the border and dealing with the terrorist villages that are adjacent to us on our northern border, while also defending our border at all times. The Prime Minister makes it clear. The fighting continues and it has not stopped. It is continuing all the time. Our actions are not against Lebanon and its citizens, but against a murderous terrorist organization that has taken the Lebanese people as hostages. Now that Hezbollah has been so severely degraded, the government in Lebanon reached out for us for talks. This is mediated by the United States. This dialogue between Israel and Lebanon has started, which is aimed at disarming the Hezbollah terrorist organization, removing them from Lebanon, and establishing peaceful relations between our two countries. We will not discuss a ceasefire with Hezbollah, which continues to carry out indiscriminate attacks against Israel and our civilians. Tonight and tomorrow, we will mark Holocaust Remembrance Day, or Yom HaShoah. Prime Minister Netanyahu and Mrs. Sarah Netanyahu met with Holocaust survivors. They heard their moving stories of survival. As the Prime Minister explained this morning, he told the survivors there is one huge difference between then and now. During the Holocaust, we were hunted like animals for being Jewish, and we couldn't do anything about it. But today, the tables have turned, and we are the ones hunting our oppressors. The Prime Minister said those who came to destroy us are currently fighting for their survival. We will remember the 6 million Jews who were murdered by the Nazis and their collaborators in the most horrific manifestation of hatred and anti-Semitism in a planned and systemic genocide. Today, we have a state, we have leaders, and the power to defend ourselves. As the Prime Minister said this morning at the meeting, if we had not acted, if we had not taken our fate into our own hands in the independent state of Israel with the IDF and our security arms, the names of Isfahan, Natanz, Fordo, and Bushehr would be remembered like Auschwitz, Majdanek, and Sobibor. The Prime Minister said they come to destroy us, they've came to destroy us, and we rise up against them. I'll now be taking a few questions. Okay, first question from Or Shaked Israel Hayom. If negotiations with Lebanon were to produce an agreement, what would it entail? And how do you envision working with Lebanon to dismantle Hezbollah moving forward? So exactly what I outlined there, or what we're looking for in this type of dialogue is to see that Lebanon is committed to disarming Hezbollah, taking away all these weapons that they have, demilitarizing southern Lebanon as well, and also to have a peace agreement between both of our two countries. Okay, this is Jonas from Swiss TV. There are several reports that the Security Cabinet secretly decided to establish 34 new settlements in Judea and Samaria. Can you confirm this? And if yes, why was this decision taken? I have nothing to share on that at this time. Alexander Cornwell from Reuters. Is Israel taking part in the U.S. blockade of Iranian ports? If so, in what way? As I said, Prime Minister Netanyahu and the state of Israel support this blockade. Jonathan Rees from the New York Times. Number one, ahead of talks with Lebanon tomorrow, what could the Lebanese government offer or commit to that would be acceptable to Israel as a condition for the ceasefire? And two, as the U.S. naval blockade was set to begin, what is the assessed likelihood of renewed escalation? To what extent is Israel preparing to repel a potential Iranian attack or launch one itself? I will address your first one right now. In terms of Lebanon, like I just outlined in the question before you, we're looking to make sure that there is some type of agreement between our two countries that would have to do with peace relations between Israel and Lebanon. And also, of course, the first and most important thing right now is to ensure that Hezbollah is disarmed. They are demilitarized, and so is southern Lebanon as well.
All right, so you guys were just listening in there. Again, that was Shosh Bedrosian, the speaker for the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu from Israel, talking a little bit more about how Israel is doing with this whole thing against Iran. We always talk about the U.S. and, just wanted to make sure that you all are up to date with what's going on in the Strait of Hormuz, but I also wanted to make sure we knew what Israel was doing, what their part has been in all of this. But still ahead, it is a big night in sports for a couple of different reasons. WNBA draft is tonight. We'll be checking in with our Marcus Beasley. I didn't forget your name this time, Marcus. It's just I wasn't expecting to see you yet. But we'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live. Again, I got some great news in the world of sports, especially if you're a WNBA fan. The draft is tonight, and we already know who the #1 draft pick is. Let's pull it up for the people. We're talking about AZ Fudd here from UConn. She's the #1 draft pick and is coming with a pretty big payday. We're talking about $500,000. And just to put that into perspective, not only is AZ, now she's playing for the Dallas Wings, which is a fantastic team, but she'll also be playing with her former Huskies teammate, once again, Paige Beckers. She was the #1 draft pick last year for the Wings. And again, just to put this in perspective, what we're talking about, AZ getting $500,000, that should be about 7 times what Beckers earned last season as the top choice. And this is because of that collective bargaining agreement that was ratified just last month. So the rookies this time around got some huge pay raises. So congratulations to AZ. We'll see how the Dallas Wings pull it out this year. And of course, soon we're hoping that the Phillies have something to say. The Philadelphia WNBA team, that is, would have something to say when that comes to be. All right, let's check in with our sports team. Marcus Beasley on standby. Marcus, we've been watching the Flyers and the Phillies. Tell me something good about them.
Well, Phillies are a final. They won 13-7 thanks to a couple home runs by Kyle Schwarber and 3 hits by JT Realmuto, as well as 3 RBIs. So that's the good news. Some more good news. The Flyers are in a shootout. It is now tied 2-2 with the Carolina Hurricanes. The Flyers needed a win. They at least got a point. So worst case scenario, as I'm looking right now, the shootout is currently happening as I'm talking to you. But right now, if they lose the shootout, then they just need either a point, win, whichever, or a Capitals loss tomorrow for them to clinch a playoff spot. But again, the main thing is that they got a point, so that is important. So right now, as we go through the shootout, I mean, it's very exciting. But yeah, Flyers at least did half of what they needed to do so far.
Okay, that is actually amazing to hear. I'm sure fans everywhere are going crazy, especially the ones who filled out the arena. Okay, so you said that shootout is going on as we speak. Talk to, I'm new to sports, so talk to me what a shootout is. Everybody else might know.
So shootout, so when it comes to hockey, obviously you have your 3-minute or 3 periods of 20 minutes. Then you have a 5-minute overtime period. And then you have a shootout where it's you have a scorer and then the goalie. And then each team gets 3 chances to score. And after 3 attempts, whoever has the most scores after those 3 attempts wins. And if it's tied, then it kind of goes to a sudden death. One team gets their scorer to try to score, and then the opposite as well. So that's pretty much how a shootout goes, and it's determined, or it pretty much continues until one team scores more than the other after a certain amount of round attempts, if that makes sense.
It does, and it sounds like really nerve-wracking, so I'm sure the fans are on the edge of their seats right now.
Oh yeah, everyone's glued to this right now. So far, Trevor Zegras and Matvei Michkov has been stopped, and I just see that the second attempt by Carolina has been stopped as well. So both goalies have been stepping up their game for this shootout.
Yeah, because nobody wants to be the one that let the team lose.
Nope.
I understand.
Nope. They don't want to be held responsible for it. I mean, the Hurricanes have already clinched the 1 seed by making it to overtime, so they're just playing with house money right now. The Flyers are the team that has, that's the team that has something to play for right now. Sorry, as I'm looking at you, as I'm looking at the game right now. Travis Konechny, he just got denied on his shootout attempt. So now pretty much if Dan Vladar stops the Hurricanes attempt, then they're going to go to another shootout of another round. Whereas if the Hurricanes score, then they will win this game, and the Flyers will have to. No, I am seeing right now that he missed the shot. So now we're going to go to an extra round of shootout to see, who's going to come out on top out of this next round.
Marcus, how quickly does something like this happen? Are we thinking before the 10 o'clock news starts, we could know the outcome of this game?
We could easily know within the. Okay, I'm seeing now that Tyson Forster did score on his attempt. So as I'm talking to you, I'm waiting for the next update to see if Dan Vladar is able to stop. Tyson Forster scored on his attempt.
Everybody wants to.
I got you. I'm looking at I'm sorry, I'm talking to a bunch of people.
No, we love it. This is streaming. This is what we do.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I'm sure you're loving this. No, but yeah, so Tyson Forrester scored on his attempt, and I'm waiting to see word if Dan Vladar was able to stop the attempt. If Dan Vladar is able to stop the attempt, the Flyers will win and have clinched a playoff spot, but that is if he's able to stop it. And Dan Vladar makes a save. The Flyers won. They clinched a playoff spot. They have won. They have won via shootout, 3-2. They are in the playoffs. They are officially going to the playoffs, thanks to Dan Vladar getting the game-winning save in the shootout. Congratulations to the Flyers.
Yes. We got some breaking news on the stream.
Absolutely,
and you
yep.
hear the live reaction from inside
Yes.
the studio.
Yes.
We got a lot
Everyone's
of Flyers
loving
fans
this.
in there.
Yep.
Good. How long have we been waiting for this to happen? It's been a couple of years, right?
It's for the first time since 2018, a playoff series will come to Philadelphia. They will play the Pittsburgh Penguins in the first round, an in-state rivalry. So yeah, the first time in 8 years, playoffs are coming. Now the Flyers were in the playoffs 5 years in the bubble in COVID, but this one will be the first one in 8 years that the series will come to Philadelphia. So it'll be great.
Okay, we have so much happening
Yeah.
with America 250.
Yes, yes.
Like, this is the place to be. If you're not
Yes.
already here, you're going to want to get here. You're going to want to take a vacation. This is the place to be. Okay, Marcus, what makes this team, this combination different? Why is it that we haven't seen this since 2018? What is it about these guys?
I mean, there's a lot of faith in the youth. I mean, between Matvei Michkov, you got Porter Martone, there's been a resurgence in terms of youth regarding this team that has sparked a lot of the veterans like Sean Couturier and Travis Konechny to where it just feels like a revitalized energy. And I mean, it's a first-year head coach in Rick Tocchet with the Flyers, so it's just kind of like a whole new attitude for this team that has kind of gave them that spark to, as you see, make the playoffs. Also, it doesn't hurt that they've had a franchise record. They've been in overtime 28 times this year, which is at least a point, and every point matters. So that has also been a huge help to get this team going into the playoffs.
Okay, that all makes sense to me, and I think it's the guys, it's the fans, and then maybe even the coaching staff that they have just really wanted this and worked really hard, worked their butts off to get here.
It takes a village, so yeah.
Listen, we are trying to look and see. I know the team has to be excited. The social media person is probably going crazy right now. We're trying to see if they've got a graphic up for us. So we're going to keep our eyes on this. I'm going to let you go because I know that you're probably wanting to celebrate with the newsroom because we all heard the cheers.
Well, we're about to lead off the 10 with this. So yeah, I'm about to get some editing done, and we're about to get the show on the road.
All right, get ready for the show. Thank you so much for taking the time with me here on Philadelphia Live. Listen, you guys, like I said, this is a really big deal. We haven't seen this since 2018, 2020, really, since we were at least, in the room. But for us to for sure get the spot, and now we're going to see what happens next with this next upcoming game. It's going to be a game changer. And they did put up a graphic. Let's see if we can grab this on X. Philadelphia Flyers just posted this. Flyers win. We're going to the playoffs. And again, very, very exciting. The end score, of course, 3-2. So, yeah, we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. We got so much coming up for you, including some more headlines right after this. Welcome back to Philadelphia Live. You guys put 5 minutes on the clock. We're talking about some of the top headlines from all around the United States. First and foremost, California Representative Eric Swalwell has been suspended. He has suspended his campaign for governor. Excuse the tongue tie there. He's facing multiple allegations of sexual misconduct toward an employee who apparently worked under him. And now the House Ethics Committee is investigating him. So the woman involved says that Swalwell sexually assaulted her back in 2019 and again in 2024. She claims that she was too intoxicated during both incidents to consent to sex. And so it was she did not consent. Last night, Swalwell issued a statement saying, and I quote, "I am deeply sorry for mistakes in judgment I've made in my past." But then he also went on to say he would be fighting the, and I quote, "serious false allegations that have been made." Swalwell has been considered a top contender in the race to succeed California Governor Gavin Newsom, who has reached his term limit. So this comes as a shock to a lot of people who were, looking to see what was going to happen next. A growing number of prominent lawmakers and other political advisors and leaders have dropped their support for Swalwell following the allegations. And there's been a bipartisan effort on Capitol Hill calling for that investigation that is ongoing. But let's be clear here, even the Ethics Committee says that the mere fact that it is investigating these allegations and publicly disclosing its review does not itself indicate that any violation has occurred. So they're suggesting that he still has an opportunity to show himself approved. And it's not just Democrats that we're seeing here. We're also seeing a Republican who's stepping down. He says that he's going to retire after admitting to an affair with his own staffer. So this is about Republican Representative Tony Gonzalez of Texas. He announced his retirement from Congress amid bipartisan calls for his expulsion. They say that he admitted to an affair with a staff member who later died by suicide. Now, he previously stated that he would not be seeking re-election, and of course we do know some of those leaders who have spoken out against him have already said that they wouldn't want him back. The announcement also follows, again, those bipartisan calls for his expulsion. His announcement came just hours after that first one that I told you about with Representative Eric Swalwell. So Capitol Hill is kind of a mess right now between the Democrats and the Republicans, both of these people that I'm talking about here serving in the House of Representatives. We got a post up for him that says there is a season for everything and God has a plan for us all. When Congress returns tomorrow, I will file my retirement from office. It has been my privilege to serve the great people of Texas. So again, he did post about this on social media, confirming that he would be stepping down, saying that this is a retirement for him. And again, he's described serving Texas as a privilege. He did not provide any other details about his plans here. So again, between the Democrats and the Republicans, we're seeing issues there with both on the House of Representatives. And last but not least, I want to end on my question of the night. We've been posting this post from Donald Trump, and just to describe it for you all, on Truth Social, he's since deleted this, but on Truth Social, he posted this photo of himself. A lot of people, it was AI generated. A lot of people say that he looked like he was trying to imitate Jesus Christ, which is very interesting because he's in a public spiff right now with the Pope. So they say that this was a way to mock Pope Leo. So in that post, people are wondering, was it him trying to look like